our socials and our DM at ABC News GH _ on ABC News GH. We say it is the poll center, where you have all of the credible information you need about the elections. If there's anything you don't understand, this is where you come to for your understanding, and it is the poll center. On the poll center, we say votes, not violence. Before, during, and after the elections, we are advocating for only your votes, nothing but your votes. All that is needed is your thumb on 7th December, not your fist, nothing else, just your thumb. Do well not to be used as a conduit or any tool for violence. Do well to not be used as a conduit or a tool for violence. So it is the poll center here. We'll bring you everything you need to know about the elections. This is ABC in the morning. Stick with us, stay with us. We will be back with Front Story. And still watching ABC in the morning. Now into our front story. Today we throw the spotlight on La General Hospital. We are looking at this stalled La General Hospital and how this has been affecting residents within the area, especially the La Dade Kototong constituency, because it is where the La General Hospital is situated. This facility since 2020 has been controversial, yet witnessed the tension. The project, which was initially pegged to cost some 57 million euros, has since 2020 not been erected to serve residents with good health care. The government's promise to complete and open at least the outpatient department of the La General Hospital by October this year is still in limbo. This is because work on the hospital project has come to a stall. The reconstruction of the La General Hospital has lingered since 2020, when President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo cut sword for the project after the old facility was demolished. After more than 3 years of a lull, construction started this year with an October deadline to open the outpatient department services to indigents of La. The state of the project site, when the news team visited yesterday, Tuesday, November 12, was like that of a cemetery. Residents who have been eager to see the project completed at least before the general elections, say their hopes have been dashed and have expressed worry about the government's inconsistency with the completion date of the hospital. Meanwhile, Health Minister Dr. Bernard Dokoboi, during his vetting by the Parliament's Appointments Committee, justified the necessity of the facility's demolition, labeling it as a death trap. Originally demolished in 2020 due to reported structural defects, the La General Hospital is currently awaiting construction, whereas residents with various medical conditions have had to grapple with health care and travel a far distance to seek medical care. Yesterday, my colleague Andy Opondenchi spoke with the MP for La Dade Kototong constituency, Honorable Retana Odole Soa, and also engaged some residents who have been affected by the demolition of the facility and the challenges they face because there's no hospital to serve the good people of La. Let's listen to Honorable Naa Odulisowa when she spoke about this issue.
Government could have done way better, because as Member of Parliament, I cannot just walk into their meeting if I'm not invited, and they do not care about it. I raised the question on the floor of Parliament for the trade fair, and I was given the response that the trade fair belonged to a private entity, and the government has a board in there. The government appointed, the MPP government appointed the chief executive. So how could this be, what do you call it, a private entity? So I do not buy into that. And then, like you said, the people have come out to demonstrate and all that. Yes, it is our right to know what's going on there. And if we are not being given any form of information, we'll go out there to demonstrate. So as Member of Parliament, what I know as at today is what I'm telling you. The project is not being done. And so we are in November. I don't know when it's going to be completed. And even as they started the project, they should invite even some of us to let our youth also go and get some employment there, even in the construction of whatever they are doing. But nothing of the sort has been done. We haven't heard anything from the municipal assembly as to whether they are even, because the assembly is responsible for development within the constituency, whether any permits have been issued, whether the assembly has come out to inform the good people of Dadekotopon as to what is going on. We know nothing about it. As Member of Parliament, I know nothing about it. I wonder if the assembly members of the assembly have even been informed. And so this project, I'll say here, look at what is being done there. The block work has not been completed. No roofing has been done. And you come to tell us, disrespect us by saying that the project will be completed by the close of 2024. It's a lie, and this government has been lying to the good people of Dadekotopon since it came into power. The Gans have a proverb, I don't care a one hime. Unless we have seen the completion of this project, I cannot say anything to that. I would say yes, I would say no. Yes, to the fact that they came to tell us that the hospital was not in good shape. Meanwhile, we had other facilities on the premises of the La General Hospital, which were constructed not long before they did this, they undertook the demolition. And so, for me, as a layperson, I would say they should have left the hospital in its state if they knew they were not ready to reconstruct it. Because the demolition was carried out in 2019, sword cutting was done in 2020, promising the good people of Dadekotopon and our chiefs that it will take us 18 months or 2 years to complete the reconstruction. But what we see, Kweku Agyeman, when he was Minister for Health, he was asked the question on the project of the La General Hospital. He said it was near completion. At the time, even the foundation had not been dug, and have been following up on the project, questions on the floor of Parliament, statements, demonstrations with the good people of Dadekotopon, press conferences here and there. They did not heed to anything. And now they started the reconstruction. I was happy about it, because as a leader, if you follow up on something for your people and it's been done, it brings me so much joy. And I was there. I followed up with the foundation. I used to be in touch with the engineers and all that. But what we see today, they started, and as we speak, the minister now, Honorable Okoboy, promised that by October we'll start using the OPD. Today again is November 12th. Is he telling us that the OPD is ready for use? And when is the OPD going to be open for us to use it? As we speak, when you go there, you see their crane hanging there, and they have to take a good look at it because it just swings around, and it has some concrete blocks hanging there, about 6 of them. And so as it swings around, if these concrete blocks should come down, there's going to be disaster. And so they should come clear on the construction of the La General Hospital, because they wrote a letter to the media mentioning TV3, that TV3 was telling people that the project has stalled. And if the project has not stalled, they are telling us that they are preparing the certificate for the contractor to be paid. And if certificate is being processed, Whenever certificates are being processed and the contractor is being paid on regular basis, the contractor will not stop work. And so if they are telling us that work has not stalled, they should call the contractor back to site, because workers are not on site, engineers are not on site, and the project has stalled. They should come out and tell us that the project has not stalled, because we, the people of Dade Kotopon, we are up and we are saying that the project has stalled. If it has not stalled, those concrete blocks should come down and the project should continue. Parliament, I raised questions on the floor. I have done statements. We have gone and I've spoken with the Minister for Health, the then minister and the now minister, Ajima Menu, and then Honorable Okoboy. I was there with him at the site, and he promised and gave me the assurance. And so, as Member of Parliament, this is how far I can go for now. And when it started, like I said, I was excited about it. But now that it has stalled, they should come back and tell us that the project cannot continue because there are no funds to pay the contractor. A lot of people have lost their lives because of the demolition of this the hospital for the good people of Dade Kotopon and Ghana, because that hospital served a lot of people coming from far and near. And so we have lost lives, and we have a polyclinic. The polyclinic used to work and close at 8 p.m. I went in there, I spoke with the administrator and the team, and I have supported them with some funds from my health fund. And now we have a maternity block which enables them to do the 24-hour economy. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is promising the good people of Dade Kotopon so that we'll be able to run the shift. More people will get jobs to do, and lives will be meaningful. We are saying building the Ghana we want together. Yes, there's going to be a change of.
So that is the MP, the Member of Parliament for the Dade Kotopon constituency, Honorable Retana Odole. So she's had a lot to say about the stalled project and how much it's affecting the people of no general hospital for them at the moment. They were promised that by October this year the OPD would have started working. Unfortunately, that is not the case. We also spoke with residents of La on the stalled project. Some have mentioned that the delay in the hospital, in the construction of the hospital, has not only affected their access to healthcare but also taken a toll on their businesses, because they have lost customers from the hospital. Obviously, there were some shops and all around the hospital, so those businesses were also making some money from patrons who came to the hospital. Let's take a look at the residents and listen to what they had to say about this hospital.
Honey, Latenue, if you jeme polyclinic, la polyclinic, jeme we fine. Oh, jeme woya. Many here home first are for it, there be a name of maternity. Or are for no fiano ya no fine, jeme. Uliaka won many ene agbina keke. Kuni many John someone. Ekumejo kumase kwa biaba. Oh, make a canal binani biane. Ukunuku yano. Very bad. Inkra. Shukwene benini machine. Shukwe benini wana ni bieji. No ni sa imbiene no fiano baku. Nyumoko baneni koyo fite no fiano. Yane shikaje cheba no banona boni biefejo. Ye fenjo in stuff ni yo agbo ife cover no much. Chukwe bene mi ho ni na yaba. Yala bi meni ba mo chamba wo gbohin. Aba jeni ayaba fishi. Okunoko ya no.
To me, embe yemo too much bullshit. Won kwa keshi government bafi serious neighbor channel. Kune hani anya gbinoya. But people are complaining, man, yeah, but they are complaining bitterly. Oh, it's so bad. What I say, I'm a Benjamin, I'm bad, tuning. But I lock up. Day once in a month, I'll and yeah, like it to me. Yeah, I quite remember no me na cat when it was in the midnight. Again, I'm a fan. I'm a check. No, I'm a boom. Thanos can a treat me for you. But in Buffy, okay. She piano ni akumole wayashon.
Hospital ele na kumwegba wona. Wesa na abomoden na makoni wo hu. Wonye woni na ya wona. Ya ke no ko ya na kutwe me fienjo. Emembe wale podi nche sana ya shon sometimes go that no ba she no ya no ni fi obo egbedu. Hospital ele sana ya ma. I don't know akeshe kule shikana ha meni falo amedente na membo ablu. Nefe nyongbele wonu oshishi na kake ba he ni ohie shika bia na ba fibu end of the month ni wo ohie shika amno no wo mobo na le akaba ha ake ha me sha at the end of the day ka pay me still am ka me be shika that means shika na ha me fa wo as I'm talking to you men come dia ne poken ke men come amefe ameti ahwe amake shika be na ka ba pay me wa ameti je moko nke je na ahwe amesha transfer ameketi different sites ni amenye nyomo me ni ho koko me ni ho bo float ahehe ni na pe ni me ho ni ha me because I'm like o me ba he ni at least at the end of the day e ba no ni ka ba machine ho e ba ta sometimes police hospital allo latin allo be it ba depend ye beni any bowl small because sometimes I feel like a court be a jacket join humble, but still a bit close. Doctors on duty, men come who ya kufiana. Ni I can let 10 wedding Jemmy am a 24/7. A time na make a cry or back no man can look back and look away. As I know we are different place.
These are some of the residents of La, and they were speaking in their in their responses, and I'll try to summarize that for our viewers. On the baseline, they're bemoaning the incomplete project, the stalled project of the La General Hospital along the La Teshin Road. For those who sell around, they said that when the hospital was fully functional, they were making some good money because patrons were patronizing their stuff or their wares, so much food and all. But now it is not the case. They're not making any money because there are no patrons coming to patronize their businesses anymore. Some also said that because there's no hospital, you do have to travel a distance for healthcare, and if you don't take care before you get to where you are going to, you may unfortunately die because you would have traveled a farther distance. But if there were a hospital, that may not have been the case. They mentioned that the La Tenu Hospital is now what is serving the residents of La, and because the general hospital is not working now, the Tenu Hospital has a maternity ward and all, so it's able to cater to certain things that at first it was not catering to. But the hospital doesn't run 24 hours. The hospital closes at a certain time during the day, and they're hoping that the La General Hospital is completed so that it can serve the people. You see on your screens that it sits on a vast land, so it would serve a good number of people. They are hoping that the La General Hospital is completed early so that the good people of Labadi or La can also find full expression of the hospital. They wouldn't have to go all the way out of La just to receive healthcare. Some of them who do not visit the La Tenu go to the police hospital, which is in Osu, or farther than that. And that's it on this. The lingering question in the minds of many is when this hospital will be completed, and how far has the committee lobbied in Parliament for the completion of the hospital. There are so many questions about this Hospital. We tried getting in touch with some members of the Committee on Health in Parliament, but we have not been able to. You would also recall that in a conversation with Dr. Agnes Edu, who is the CEO of the trade fair on another platform, she said that the La Trade Fair, will be completed by the end of the year. If you also look at the trade fair, the trade fair site, you don't really see that it indeed will be completed by the end of the year. So the people of La, two main facilities that were serving them have been raised down to be rebuilt, and they have not been built yet. The trade fair, which we will take a look at in subsequent conversations, and then the La General Hospital, which really matters to the La people very much, their health, their lives, and or for anybody who has lived in La before, the hospital was raised down to be reconstructed, has visited, at least a good number of people have visited the La General Hospital, a big facility that used to serve a good number of people, not just the La people, but people from the environment. So the La people are hoping that this hospital will be completed early, so that they too will have a health facility to visit. And that's all for our front story this morning on ABC in the morning. Let's take a look at the news portals and see what is on the news portals, what the various news portals are reporting for viewers, for readers. So on ABC News GH, the Electoral Commission confirms parliamentary ballot will remain unchanged despite GFP's disqualification. And the Constitution of Ghana has won. We must respect the rule of law. And this is Joe Gatti. GFP's Roman father disqualified from the presidential race. Supreme Court upholds Afenyo Markin's suit. Seeking a review of Supreme Court's ruling will change nothing. And this is from constitutional lawyer Kwame Adolfo. Let's go to My Joy Online. Let's see what is on myjoyonline.com. Attorney General got his wish, so why complain? Edujita Maklo on Supreme Court ruling. We like to pretend, but politics have entered everywhere. And this is Atuguba saying that High Court should have handled vacant seats case, not Supreme Court. Justice Atuguba again. Akufo-Addo has outperformed all governments, Simon Osei-Mensah says. And on Remembrance Day, Ghana's last surviving World War II veteran calls for peace ahead of elections. We know why you are here. We will help and make it possible. Asante Maimbe Nkumhene says so. Let's visit ctnewsroom.com. Vacant seat ruling. Badmen must resist Supreme Court ruling. Pebu says so. Martin Pebu, lawyer, says so. Fake news is a major threat, the Electoral Commission says. Minority won't return to Parliament until after December polls. Nilante van der Poy says so. Don't be hoodwinked by Bawumia's lofty claims. Vote for Mahama. Bawa Mokhtari also says. And the NLC directs the GHA workers to suspend strike and reconvene Parliament for us to resume our sacred duty. Majority to Badmin. And that's what's on the various news portals. On the africannews.com, cases of Mpox strain more than double among children in DR Congo and Burundi. Ugandans detained for insulting President Museveni and family on TikTok. And UN chief says climate adaptation, unfulfilled pledges mean lost lives and denied development. These are some of the news on the various news portals. For more news, visit our website www.abcnewsgh.com. www.abcnewsgh.com. Be on that website. You will enjoy the news we put out there. Let's take a break. When we are back, Derek Kumikisi-Edu will bring us the latest in sports. And after that, Eric Melo Treneboa will bring us Tech Trick What new thing in the tech space should we know? These two are on hand to give us the latest in sports and tech chick. We'll be back. Stay with us.
Over the past 8 years, the NPP has significantly improved support for our most vulnerable citizens. From expanding school meal programs, enrolling 300,000 more people in the LEAP initiative, enhancing healthcare for expectant mothers, we've strengthened the fabric of our society. But our work isn't done. We are committed to further enhancing these programs and introducing new initiatives to ensure that every Ghanaian has the opportunity to thrive. Vote for progress. Vote for care. Vote for Bawumia. Bawumia means business.
Have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Bawumia, #1 on the ballot. Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Bawumia, #1 on the ballot. Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Bawumia, #1 on the ballot. Over 5
mid-year budget review with some key allocations.
We are currently here at Kanishie.
When the news breaks, we are there. In the heart of matters arising, we follow through with the right question. Don't miss a beat with our in-depth news analysis. From breaking news, special feature stories, latest news, we bring you the stories that matter. Our team of immersed reporters bring you the news as it happens. Join us every 6 a.m., 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. each day for a comprehensive look at the stories beyond the headlines.
You're watching ABC News GH.
ABC News GH, your trusted source for news.
This is where the headlines are probed, policies scrutinized through an objective lens with an unbiased approach to every discussion. Key in to a series of pulsating conversations with the hard questions.
Why do you still want to run when you have failed?
I haven't. What do you mean by failed?
In-depth analysis of policy proposals.
If it is a temporary program, why do we want to still create another gold reserve exchange program also to address a temporary issue?
If you introduce a temporary measure and you realize that the temporary measure works and is sustainable, you have to rethink whether or not it should just be temporary.
And every agenda and positions intellectually debated to set the record straight.
Look, you still don't answer the question now. Good. Question is, if Article 78(1) is anything to go by, your ministers of state largely are supposed to come from the parliament.
Yes.
The law says that not less than 10 and not more than 19. So these are your cabinet, your ministers of state you're going to get. How do you intend to resolve? Have you thought about managing that hurdle?
Absolutely. If I hadn't, I probably would not get on the fray to do this.
On Focus on ABC, we focus on the matter, the personality, and the answer beyond the rhetoric. Focus on ABC shows every Thursday at 7 p.m. only on ABC News Ghana television. This is where the headlines are probed. Policies scrutinized.
We are currently here at Kanishi.
When the news breaks, we are there. In the heart of matters arising, we follow through with the right question. Don't miss a beat with our in-depth news analysis. From breaking news, special feature stories, latest news, we bring you the stories that matter. Our team of immersed reporters bring you the news as it happens. Join us every 6 a.m., 12 p.m., and 6 p.m. each day for a comprehensive look at the stories beyond the headlines.
You're watching ABC News GH.
ABC News GH, your trusted source for news.
Media Budget.
Hello there, good morning and welcome to the sports segment here on ABC in the morning. I am Derek Kumiki Siedu, and yes, here at ABC News Ghana, we are your election poll center, your credible election guide. Now let's dive into the world of sports as Communication Director for the Ghana Football Association, GFA, Henry Asante Chum, has admitted that Ghana's challenges in the 2025 African Cup of Nations AFCON qualifiers, but insisted that they will stay positive in their final 2 games. After 4 games, the Black Stars sit third in the Group F with just 2 points, leaving their chances of qualification in doubt. To secure qualification for the tournament scheduled to be hosted in Morocco next year, Ghana must win against Angola and Niger and hope Sudan lose against Niger and Angola. Speaking to the press on Monday after the team's first training at the Accra Sports Stadium, Asante Chum said even though their chances of qualification are not in their hands entirely, but they will stay stay positive ahead of the 2 remaining games.
Very much focused on the games. We want to go into the games with a positive mindset. That has always been the driving force for this team. We go into games thinking we have to win. We go into games with a plan to win. Unfortunately, we haven't had the results in the last 4 games. Like you indicated, our chances of qualifying is not in our hands 100%, but we have to be positive. We will try as much as possible, fight very hard, go to Angola and give it 100% energy, and go for the points. If it works for us, yes, we will be happy, and then we will come back home and face Nigeria with the same attitude. That is the mentality we are going into the 2 matches.
Thank you.
Away from that, now Asante Kotoko head coach Prosper Nate Ogum is under intense pressure as he faces a critical 2-game ultimatum issued by the Menchia Palace to prove his capability to lead the club. The directive reportedly came after recent disappointing results in the Ghana Premier League, which have left fans and stakeholders frustrated with the team's inconsistent performances this season. The ultimatum signals a make-or-break moment for Ogum, who returned to Kotoko earlier this year with high expectations following a successful stint that saw the club win the 2021-22 Ghana Premier League title. However, this second tenure has been plagued with inconsistent results, putting his future with the club in jeopardy. Ogum has recently come under intense pressure as Kotoko has suffered 3 straight losses in the Ghana Premier League despite a strong start. And our FIFA Women's Football campaign for under-20 girls in the Ashanti region kicked off at the Opokuwari School Park in Kumasi on Tuesday, November 12, 2024. The 32 participating schools were grouped into 4 districts, namely Swame, Kwadaso, Kumasi Metro, and Asokore Mampo Municipal. The program, running until November 13, will provide a unique platform to encourage girls' participation in women's football at the grassroots level, whilst promoting the game and implementing the women's football strategy. Head of women's football development at the Ghana Football Association, Jennifer Amankwa Sapon, reiterated the association's support for the women's game at the opening of the program. And now the 2024-25 Women's FA Cup competition kicked off with thrilling matches nationwide. Prisons Ladies 0, Ampem Darkwa Ladies 2. Former champions Ampem Darkwa Ladies donated Prison Ladies with 2-0 win to book their place in the round of 32. Dreams Ladies 6, Nana Efia Kobi Ampem Darkwa Ladies 1. Dreams secured the decisive victory at home. Police Ladies 5, Army Ladies 4. Police avenged past losses, winning on penalties to advance to the next stage of the competition. Lower tier side GRA Ladies 2, Berry Ladies 1. Lower tier side GRA Ladies stand Berry Ladies 2-1 to advance to the next round. That's it for the sports segment here on ABC in the morning. For more sports updates, please follow our website at www.abcnewsgh.com. I am Derek Kumi Kisiedu.
to Tech Trick segment here on ABC in the morning. It's time to do some news. Now, if you haven't heard about the latest trick by hackers, then it's good you actually stay on this particular segment, because we will be getting your attention on the latest trick by some hackers. Okay, so now let's get into the real issue. So computer users who Google this word, Bengal cats are legal to own, are finding themselves victims of bizarre cyber attack. Now, cybersecurity company Sophos have issued an urgent warning on its website asking people not to type 6 words into their search engines. Now, those who have Googled, and I'm quoting exactly what this word is, so you don't also find yourself in that situation. So they are Googling, are Bengal cats legal in Australia? So these are the 6 sentences or 6 words, let me just say, that most people have Googled, which unfortunately for them have had their personal details hacked. Now, they have also reportedly had their personal information stolen from clicking on links that are near the top page. Now, victims are often enticed into clicking on malicious adware or disguised as legitimate marketing, or in this case as legitimate Googling search. Now, Sophos also have explained at present that dangerous links only appear in the search result when the word Australia is included. Now, meaning that those down under are at the largest risk of the attack once users click on a search result. Now, which looks quite legitimate. They have also have their personal information such as their bank details stolen via a program known as a GOAT Leader. So those of you who are very fond of just opening any link at all, you just have to be careful. This is like the 4th time I've had to come, educate all of you about this. It's actually happening recently. I mean, there have been a new thing people are using, that is what we're currently discussing. So the program can also lock users out of their computer per Sophos. Now, while the search team for the Bengal cat appear relatively niche, the company also claims that it makes the hacking threat even more alarming, because you don't even have to be searching for anything nefarious to have your details stolen. Now, Sophos also say that the cyber criminals are increasingly infiltrating innocuous Google search by using a tackle or a tactic known as the SEO poisoning. Now, this practice is described by the association as an insidious technique in the criminal to manipulate search engine results to push websites they control to the top of the page. Now, Sophos is also urging those who believe they may have been a victim of the SEO poisoning to alter their password as soon as possible. Just as I was saying, it is not every link you see you have to click. You are on a good page, they've dropped something, you are just curious, you want to open, hey, what is the latest? You click, you will be at risk. Just as they are saying, the cut sticks, the one I'm talking about currently, it's happening in Australia, it's happening in some part of the US, even in Ghana. Some people are complaining that they have fallen victim of it. Google has also issued a statement about it, and the company Sophos also have issued a warning to it. So we're just here to reiterate, let me just say, relay the information to you. So what are we trying to drive at? We're saying that be on the watch out. Do not just be in a hurry to click on any link at all. Well, I don't know how you are going to feel about it if your account or your personal detail is being hacked, but for me, I won't just be, on the shallow lookout just to be clicking on any app out of curiosity. I'll just have to take my time first. But anyways, that's all for today on Tech Trick. I'm hoping to catch you next time for another insightful episode. I am Eric Mellum. The show continues right after this.
key allocation.
We are currently here at Kanishi.
When the news breaks, we are there. In the heart of matters arising, we follow through with the right question. Don't miss a beat with our in-depth news analysis. From breaking news, special feature stories, latest news, we bring you the stories that matter. Our team of immersed reporters bring you the news as it happens. Join us every 6 a.m., 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. each day for a comprehensive look at the stories beyond the headlines.
221.
You're watching ABC News GH.
ABC News GH, your trusted source for news.
Up next is where your voice matters. Your voice alone is what we want to hear. Ghana Speaks.
Times are hard in Ghana, extremely hard.
As we gear towards the 2024 general elections, there have been conversations around having a presidential debate. Will it happen or not? This is Ghana Speaks.
Yesterday marked 4 years since the passing of former president and first president of the Fourth Republic, His Excellency Jerry John Rawlings. Today on Ghana Speaks, we're asking you what you remember about the former president. You can call us on 053-916-1609, 053-916-1609, and tell us what you remember about the former president. Yesterday marked 4 years since the death of Jerry John Rawlings. Many called him Papa J. Call us and let us know what you remember about him. Yesterday, his foundation and his family released a statement to mark his passing. And the statement read, "Today marks the 4th anniversary of the passing of President Jerry John Rawlings. We commemorate the 4th anniversary of the loss of the former president, who was a dedicated husband, father, uncle, grandfather, and friend to millions in Ghana and across the world. Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings was a warm soul who dedicated his whole life to the ordinary people. He was an example of African patriotic leadership, committed to freedom, justice, and accountability for the ordinary man and woman. He emphasized Ghana's need for leaders and governments that are genuinely committed to serving their people. As we reflect on his legacy, we recognize the profound impact J.J. Rawlings has had on Ghana's socio-economic recovery, her growth and development. Duty-bound to social justice throughout his life, Jerry John Rawlings has indeed left an indelible mark in Ghana and Africa. His courage to stand against injustice and his strength to stand against the exploitation of our human and natural resources continues to be an inspiration on the continent of Africa. Jerry John Rawlings emerged onto Ghana's political landscape in 1979 at a time when Ghana was facing socio-economic decline. As a young Air Force fighter pilot leading a nation in crisis, Flight Lieutenant J.J. Rawlings understood the need to lead from the front, inspiring a new political awakening among Ghanaians. Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings remains the longest-serving leader of Ghana. He was head of state between June and September 1979 as chairman of the Armed Forces Revolutionary Council, AFRC, chairman of the PNDC from December 1981 to January 1992, and elected first president of the Fourth Republic from 1992 to January 2001. He is the founder of the National Democratic Congress. Jerry John Rawlings remains the people's man, a leader who gave his life willingly in service to the ordinary people. And this was issued by the Rawlings Foundation and the J.J. Rawlings family in commemoration of the 4th anniversary of the passing of former President J.J. Rawlings. So we're asking you today what you remember about this president. For those of you who lived through his presidency, all from the beginning from AFRC through to when he handed over in 2001. What do you remember about him? Any fond memories? Do you have any fond memories about him? You let us know on 053-916-1609. 053-916-1609. Hello, and when you call us, please turn down the volume of your TV set so we can hear you. Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from? Okay. You call us on 053-916-1609. You turn down the volume of your TV set so that we can hear you and you can also hear us. 4 years since the death of J.J. Rawlings, former president, the longest serving president in Ghana. What do you remember about him? Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Good morning. My name is Kwame Opoku Ajiman. I'm calling from Kumasi.
Hello, Kwame.
Yes.
What do you remember about former President J.J. Rawlings?
Well, what I remember is the wickedness and the treachery that the AFRC put Ghanaians through, particularly in the Central region. J.J. Rawlings was a very wicked man who took powers to himself and did nasty things to people, the citizens of Ghana. Okay. He was a very wicked man.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kwame. This is Kwame from Kumasi. He says that he remembers former President J.J. Rawlings. That's a wicked man. You also tell us how you remember him. You can call us on the numbers on the number on your screen, 053-916-1609. 4 years since the death of former President J.J. Rawlings. What do you remember about him? Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Mohammed.
Okay. Mohammed, what do you remember about former President Rawlings?
Yes, I'm calling from Nima Mamovi.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember him with his humbleness. Hello?
Okay, yes, Mohammed, you're listening to you.
Yeah, he's very straight man.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, Mohammed, we heard you.
And he's very straight man.
Okay.
So I miss him.
Okay, okay.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Okay. Thank you, Mohammed. So that's Mohammed from Nima. He says he remembers J.J. Rawlings as a humble man. You two tell us how you remember him. What did you remember him for? Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Hello, my name is Pedro.
Kwejo, we can hardly hear you. Please speak up. Hello? Okay. You can call us 0539161609. 4 years since the passing of J.J. Rawlings. Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Hello, my name is Nana. I'm calling from North Legon.
Okay, Nana, what do you remember about former President Rawlings? Hello, Nana.
I remember Kukru Deka Madwe, Dabia, Tonsa. Yes, madam.
Okay, Nana. So that is what you remember him for?
Kukru Deka Madwe, Dabia, Tonsa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nana, thank you for calling. So that's Nana from North Legon, and he gave us a song, so to speak. I'm sure those older will know that one. Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Hello, good morning. My name is Cam, calling from Tema.
Okay. What do you remember former President Rawlings for?
All right. I want to tell you something. If someone is straight and peacefully, people call that person a wicked person. So you can see how now Ghana has turned to something else because of our discipline. So that man is excellent. Then people don't know how we cherish that man. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you too for calling. Let's also hear you have a say on ABC in the morning. Tell us what you remember about former President J.J. Rawlings. Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
I'm calling from Otio region. I'm calling Ubeg.
Hello, sir. I can hardly hear you. Kindly speak up.
The former President J.J. Rawlings was a very kind man. Looking at J.J. Rawlings, all these things was not there. The man was disciplined. Looking at that, the man worked. We can't get a president like J.J. Rawlings.
Okay.
So the man was very good and kind. Looking at today, grabbing and corruption and then tribalism thing, J.J. Rawlings, all these things was not there. So the man was very good. He was not risky. If you are doing something which is not good, the man was a principled man. He will just tell you what you are doing is not good. Looking at Ghana now, what is going on in Ghana? So that time we can't see all these things in Ghana. Looking at this, so the man was very good. I asked you what the man was doing. Thank you, madam.
Okay. Thank you too. You can also let us know what you remember about former President J.J. Rawlings 4 years since his passing. Good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Okay. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning. I'm calling from Tamale.
Okay. Please tell us what you remember him for.
Yeah. This, madam. Yeah.
Hello.
Rawlings is a humble man. One year passed away. You see now Ghana turned to this thing, Ghana war. This NPP government, look at how they are doing to us. God will punish them, inshallah. That's my own.
Okay. Thank you for calling. Call us on 0539161609. 0539161609. Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Good morning. My name is Maurice. I'm calling from Aflao.
Kindly speak up so we can hear you, please.
Morrison calling from Aflao.
Okay, Morrison. What do you remember former President J.J. Rawlings for?
Anytime I remember Rawlings, I remember him because of the democracy he has left for us. And the man is a very humble man, very, very truthful. That's why I remember Rawlings. Thank you, madam.
Okay, thank you for calling.
Thank
so
you.
4 years since the death of J.J. Rawlings, yesterday his family released a statement. His family released a statement where they described him as someone who Okay. Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Frederick from Bawi.
Okay, Frederick, what do you remember J.J. Rawlings for?
Rawlings was a very great man, humble, and a Democrat. And Rawlings was a man who made Ghana fine. If he not totally transform Ghana to where we are today, he did a very diligent work. And I especially remember him with the
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for calling. So we'll take our last two callers. You can call us on 053-916-160-9. Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Good morning. My name is Kofi Tabu.
Okay. Tell us what you remember about former President Rawlings.
In fact, Rawlings, he be like snake and the grass. You see, sometimes he make like he come for those who don't have. Not only that, he's killing people too. You see, so many blood is upon his hand before he died. He's a wicked man.
Okay, thank you for calling. Let's take our last caller for this segment. Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Hello.
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 Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from? Please turn down the volume of your TV so that you can
Okay,
hear.
please, my name is Isaac. My name is Isaac.
Okay, tell us what you remember about J.J. Rawlings.
Oh, J.J. Rawlings is good president. Even for the Bible, they talk say, if you steal something, you go die for your hand. Right. Today, you see our leaders, what then they do. Everybody, they do what they like. So, J.J. Rawlings time, nobody like him. So everybody know what he is supposed to do. It's not that today. Everybody, they do what they want.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
So that's all for our Ghana Speaks today. And on Ghana Speaks, we wanted to hear from you what you remember about the former president, J.J. Rawlings, 4 years after his death. And you've all had your responses to give, what you think about him and what you remember him for. That's all for Ghana Speaks. Let's take a short break. We will be back.
Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia #1 on the ballot. Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia #1 on the ballot. Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia #1 on the ballot.
the morning live on ABC News GH. Up next is Business Fix. On Business Fix, we are looking at this conversation. Government is set to launch a 227.5 million tree diversification project on November 14. And the government of Ghana, in partnership with the World Bank, would launch the Tree Crop Diversification Project, which is TCDP, on November 14, 2024 in Accra. The project, with a budget of $227.5 million, including some $27.5 million from Ghana COBOD, aims to strengthen the country's agricultural sector by diversifying tree crops, focusing on cocoa, cashew, coconut, and rubber production. The Tree Crop Diversification Project aims to address key challenges in the sector, such as low productivity, child labor, and gender inequality, while promoting sustainable economic growth. The Ministry of Agriculture highlighted that the project would reshape Ghana's agricultural future for generations, and the project will focus on two main strategies. One, improving cocoa and other tree crop productivity, and enhancing market access and private sector competitiveness. It is organized into four key components: strengthening institutions, increasing productivity with climate resilient practices, improving post-harvest management, and implementing monitoring and evaluation systems. The project will target 11 districts in 6 regions, including cocoa producing areas in Western, North, and the Eastern region, as well as cashew, coconuts, and rubber hubs in other regions. The Tree Crop Diversification Project is expected to benefit over 52,775 farmers and create around 20,000 jobs, with focus on empowering women and youth in the agricultural sector. This is what the government is set to launch in a few days' time. Let's have a conversation with an expert, Professor Roger Canton, who is an agro-research scientist. Good morning, Prof. Thank you for your time this morning.
TB, and thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you too for speaking with us, Prof. Prof, government is set to launch this project tomorrow, and it says that it is focusing on sustainable living and also how to improve the lives of women and the youth, and also take away child labor. How effective and viable is this program, especially looking at the fact that the government's term is almost coming to an end? How effective and viable is this program?
Yes, thank you for that eloquent and that very brilliant comment. I also share the same view. I mean, you know, the timing to me is not as appropriate as one would have wished because we had all these years, you know, this is a very important and a dear project that should have come in handy. Now, there are two things here. The first I would like to comment on is to ensure sustainability and to ensure that the project sees the day of the light, is to assure Ghanaians that there is enough funding. The monies you quoted are readily available, and we have a crack team in place, and also to look at the various diverse stakeholders that are going to support under this project, because just from what you said, it's going to be a complex project. And it's not going to be easy because it will cut across several ministries and several stakeholders, right from those who would produce the seedlings to agronomic, to harvesting the products when they mature, and the things like that. And as you will know, tree crops are not like annual crops. You cannot see the results within the first or 2 years. So that is one area. Will there be sustainable funding? And number two, and most critically, we also have to interrogate the manifestos of the two dominant parties, which of course one of them will definitely win. And I mean the MPP and the NDC manifestos, whether they have in place 3 crops as an agenda. If they have, then there is a guarantee that things will work well. But if they do not have, then there will be a problem. So these are the 2 scenarios I've seen.
Like you're saying, do the 2 manifestos have 3 crops as an agenda in their manifesto? It brings me to my next question. This project that they are looking at launching tomorrow, obviously this government's tenure is over, 8 years in government. Another government will take over. Is this a program that any next government will look at continuing, or will see it as one of the many that stall with the end of the government that started it?
Actually, the 2 political, if you look at their detailed agricultural manifestos, yes, they have. They have 3 crops, and they have plans to implement these programs or projects, So that is a very good safety net. It's just to ensure that the parties will go according to their manifestos. But as to whether it is in their manifesto or not, yes, both the MPP and NDC manifestos have 3 crops as major items under their agricultural manifestos. So that is a very good thing in it. And I must also be quick to add, also when you are a government, the thinking is usually that, yes, if you have done well, people will vote you into power. So you don't just throw your hands into the air. Programs that and projects that you are, or in policies that you are carrying out, you still have to continue with them. And if there are new ones, why not? But of course, you have to always be very tactical. So I think yes and no, it's not a bad idea to launch it now, based on the fact that yes, they are hopeful that if Ghanaians give them the nod, then this will continue. Or if not, then the brother or sister political party, the NDC, who have also captured these things in their manifesto, will carry them through.
Prof, as an expert in this field, do you think that government's launch of this project is really something that they wanted to launch? Is this policy something that has been on the heart of government, or you see it as a campaign promise for the farmers and the people in the sector?
No, I think this has been on the drawing board not today, because there have been these 3 crop development projects that the government have launched years back. Yes, it is, and in fact, there is an authority that is even working on it. So it is not something new. It has actually been something that government have been working on. They have been giving funds, and I have interacted with their CEO, a couple of times, as to the way forward and some of the suggestions as to how they can broaden it. So yes, it has been on the table. It's not a new thing at all.
In your interactions with CEOs and then the stakeholders on how it can be broadened, Prof, let me ask you, what should we do with this program to ensure its sustainability and to ensure that it benefits the people that it's targeting, the farmers?
Exactly. That is now the issue. There is always the lack of broad stakeholder consultations. That is my first critique. See, when policies are drafted out in Accra, in our air-conditioned rooms and all that, with partners like World Bank and other professionals, and also we call on a lot of consultancies. People come in, and consultancies cost a lot, but these things can be kept if we have local stakeholder consultations. And I have always said the country can be divided into 3 major agroecological zones. You have the northern zone that covers the Guinea, Sudan, savannas. Then you have the middle zone, that is the transition zone. And then you have the coastal zone. So that if you have farmers and all stakeholders, and I'm talking about the value chain approach, right from people like you who consume the products, or through those who do the nursing of the seedlings, to those who will do the real agronomic work, to those who will harvest, to those who will process. If we always do it that way, I think it will yield results. But when you don't involve key stakeholders, research scientists, and you just leave it at the political level, then we always have problems. And that was the bane of the Planting for Food and Jobs when the government introduced it. There wasn't broad stakeholder consultation at all. So my focus or my advice to this government is to involve stakeholders that are key, devoid of political affiliations. We're talking about technocracy, people who know and can do the job, and involve the farmers in particular, as you have rightly pointed out. That is usually the greatest lacking point or the lacuna when it comes to implementation of projects, programs, and policies.
Prof, this project is also looking at eliminating child labor. A few weeks ago, the cocoa farmers had an issue and they sent it to Cocoa Board. Key amongst the issues that cocoa farmers raised was child labor. Why are we in this dispensation still seeing the rise of child labor in the agri sector? We understand that children follow their parents to see the work they do, which is fine, because when your parent does a certain job, more often than not, you also get to try your hands at it so far as it's not harming you. But in this case, the use of children as labor, the main form of labor on these farms and all, why are we still seeing it in this dispensation?
Permit me for my word. If you talk about child labor, I call it childish nonsense. Because why? Why am I an agriculturist? I used to follow my parents to the farm on Saturdays and Sundays. When I closed from school, I used to take care of animals. What is wrong with that? And that is what has helped to make me who I am. Don't forget, I was trained in Russia. I lived in Russia 6 years, came back, went to the UK for my PhD, government scholarship, Commonwealth. Anytime I visited my professor in his house, any of them in UK or in Kharkov, my supervisor is working on his car. In fact, mostly the Europeans, they don't go to mechanics like we rush to mechanics. They are able to change oil and do other minor servicing. Unless bigger ones, they send them to the automobile. So when they do that and their children go and help and are learning from them, is that term child labor?
Prof.
The Chinese, I've seen a clip going around where Chinese children are being invited to start things very early, even during class hours, including agriculture, okay, engineering.
One of the major issues with this concern about child labor is the fact that children are taken out of school, so they do not get the education that they should have alongside. Like you're saying, you went after school, you came to help your father with the work, and on the weekends you were helping them. So it means that it did not have an adverse toll or effect on your education. In this case, some children are out of school, they are not getting education. They are working on farms as if they were farm hands, like adults who are working on farms, and this is one of the issues.
Yeah, so the issue is, if there is then the need, that it means there is a labor shortage. That is why children are being co-opted into the cocoa business. So if this is the case, how can we solve that issue? It's not just merely saying children are moved from school. Yes, they will be moved from school because their parents' livelihoods are key. Without that livelihood, how can you support your child's school education? Fortunately, there is now free school senior high. If there wasn't, it means that the father will have to look for money to pay for the school fees. If he can't get the money, it's logical for the son to come and work, gather money, and go back to school. So I think it's just sometimes we overhype issues. We try to make an elephant out of the mole. What I think is there can be stakeholder consultation. That is what I told you. If the parents are discussed with, and we look at the options, maybe even labor can come from other West African countries like they come in doing under Galamsey. We can have a dialogue on it, and then let the parents know, look, let them go to school. When they come weekends, they can come and fill the gaps. So actually, this is something that needs a discussion. And I think we have ideas we can resolve this. It shouldn't be made as if it is an astronomical issue that cannot be solved.
Well,
who would like to go to school?
Like you have said, you said that it means there's a labor shortage. Hopefully, this $227.5 million tree crop diversification project will take care of the labor shortage in this
Exactly. So that students who are waiting to go to school looking for jobs can use it as a transit point so that they can do a year and then you get money. You continue with your education, particularly those in the senior high schools that are waiting admission to the universities. So to me, it will be a very good. There's a lot of labor hanging around. People can tap in on that.
All right. We are grateful for your time this morning, Prof.
And thank you very much for having me. I'm most grateful too.
Professor Roger Canton is an agro-research scientist. This conversation on government's launch of a 227.5 million tree crop diversification project, beg your pardon, tomorrow to be launched. So we're looking forward to the launch tomorrow, and then what will be found in this tree crop diversification project. But key amongst the issues is child labor. We'll see how that will be tackled in the launch of this program. Thank you. This is Business Fix. We will be back soon. Stay with us.
Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia #1 on the ballot. Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia #1 on the ballot. Over 5 million children have benefited from free SHS. Protect free SHS. Vote Dr. Baumia #1 on the ballot.
Welcome back to ABC in the morning. Let's head straight into our main discussion for this morning. We are discussing Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ruled Speaker Bagben's vacant seats declaration as unconstitutional. The Supreme Court has ruled that his declaration of those seats as vacant was an unconstitutional ruling. And in a historic turn of events yesterday, the Supreme Court of Ghana has, by a 5-2 decision, ruled that Speaker Alban Bagben's declaration of 4 seats as vacant is unconstitutional. And at a brief sitting on Tuesday, November 12, 2024, the Chief Justice, Gertrude Tokonu, said the Speaker's declaration cannot hold. According to her, the reasons for the verdict would be provided today, Wednesday, November 13, 2024. Let's take a look at the ruling at the court yesterday. said that the Speaker's ruling cannot hold.
Nothing more except to say that we expect our colleagues. We can only thank God, and also it's a moment for all of us to rally around the choice we made in 1992, democracy. Democracy requires decency, and that is the path the MPP Majority Caucus took to ensure that we do right to the law. Nothing more except to say that we expect our colleagues on the other side, including Mr. Speaker, to respect the outcome of this case so that we move on as a nation. All we have is the peace of the country. All we have is our democracy. And in West Africa and in Africa as a whole, Ghana shines in the eyes of the people in terms of democracy. So this is another feat we have achieved, and we must celebrate it. It's not a matter of MPP against NDC. It's a matter of constitutional, interpretation, and the court has given its verdict. We should all respect it and move on. Thank you very much. I think on the
do you expect the Speaker to recall Parliament on its own volition, given this emphatic?
Let the lawyers deal with the issues of law. I think that all we want is peace in the country, and we chose peace. And today we've achieved peace. That is all we say.
The Speaker has no choice. He has to accept.
What down for Michael K to come out with that?
He may have been made. I don't recall. We've been in that house so many years. We don't recall everything. A lot of us refer to the book. I am saying that.
On the day the Speaker adjourned,
yes,
we saw some actions with some.
I beg you was pushing. Forgive me.
And you have filed the police complaint.
Yes, I have filed. I've filed. We are human beings in that parliament. We are human beings. We exhibit human instincts. We are not animals, and we don't exhibit animalistic instincts. I do not understand why on the matter where my colleagues are discussing, and I wasn't actually talking to the particular Afegi man. I was talking to my nephew, Forcing, the minority leader. I was saying to him, Ato, it is your responsibility to make sure in the circumstance of this case, the Speaker of the House abides by the ruling of the Supreme Court. So talk to him. I mean, show leadership. That's the person I was talking to. This man came out of nowhere and started pushing me. You guys have the pictures, the videos, pushing. I kept shouting, you can't push me like that. What is your business? Why are you doing it? He pushed me about 5 times. What do you think you're doing? I have a complaint. Yes, I've started a complaint.
There are times where colleague MPs are...
This is not colleague. We are not animals in there. Yes, any more questions?
Thank you.
What down for Michael K to come out with?
Today is the 12th of November, 2024. I think we have about 25 or 24 days to election. The judgment from the IPS court this morning, I take this opportunity to speak for and on behalf of the leadership of the Majority Caucus, as I should say. First of all, I want to commend our leader, Yonaba Fenyo Makin, for the leadership he played in all these buhaha, the entire Majority Caucus leadership, and of course the entire leadership of the caucus for their continuous prayer and support in this difficult time. What we went to court to do was to test our laws. So we sought to test our laws, and the Apex Court did what they had to do in terms of their core mandate, as we know, in the Constitution. So they interpreted the Constitution rightfully. We think it's a day of victory not for us as a caucus, the Majority Caucus, but we think it's a victory for our democracy. And particularly it also puts to rest all the buhaha and all the interpretations that people have sought to put to the Constitution. So, not just a democracy, a boost for our democracy, it is also a boost to our parliamentary jurisprudence and our constitutional jurisprudence. we think it's a landmark case that for a very long time to come in our democracy. Many scholars, students of law, parliament, present in the future parliament will still make very good reference to this ruling because it's so important. Again, we also see it as a definition of true separation of powers, where you know, as I do know, that the three arms of government have some limitations in terms of the exercise of powers and responsibilities. And all these are defined in our laws. So we think it's a day of victory. And I hear people say, what do you expect? Are they going to comply or not? There can't be an option of not respecting the judgment of the apex court of our land. We don't consider it as an option for any body, individual or corporate entity to arrogate to itself powers to say that they will not respect a court judgment. That would be strange. We don't expect the minority to do that. We don't expect the speaker to do that. Don't forget, we are seeking to govern this country. And it will be strange to hear that they will say that we will not respect a court judgment. That can never be an option. So these are our comments. We want to commend our colleagues and also commend the Ghanaian people who have been very patient waiting for this judgment. And we are proud that we took this matter to court, led by our leader, our respected leader. We are also proud that there was a prompt response to what we sought from the apex court. So without much ado, we want to thank you very much. Let's all be careful in our reportage.
Various reactions after the ruling yesterday by the Supreme Court that declared the Speaker's declaration as unconstitutional. Now let's take a listen to when Chief Justice made the ruling in court yesterday.
Court, in a majority decision of 5-2, Lovelace Johnson JSC and Amadou Tanko JSC dissenting on the issue of jurisdiction, the plaintiff's action succeeds. The full reasons and orders of the court shall be filed with the registrar by close of day tomorrow, 13th November 2024. This is the judgment of the court.
Most grateful.
The ruling of the court yesterday. Let's have a conversation on all of this. We've been having various conversations since the conversation came up. Let's speak with Dr. Frederick Ojo, who is a governance expert, and also Kwame Adofo, a constitutional lawyer. Gentlemen, thank you for your time this morning.
Good morning.
Dr. Ojo, the last we spoke with you, you said that we may not agree with the decision of the Supreme Court, but we must abide by it because it is law. This morning I ask, should the ruling yesterday bring finality to the whole controversy?
Yes, that's the essence of rule of law. The court remains the final arbiter. Even with this issue, I mean, there's a lawyer on the line. He would confirm that even if the side that lost is not satisfied, they may choose to go for a review. So the bottom line is you're going to go to the court for ruling. And what they would say has to be the final thing. And we are not only talking about any court, but the apex court. Their ruling become part of our laws that you can cite in future cases. So the issue is that where we stand now, if all of us are going to respect the law and abide by what the law says, for now, the ruling is go and do ABC. You can't deviate from that. If you do that, you are actually attacking the Constitution. So I would expect that all sides should accept the ruling. They don't have to agree with the ruling, but they have no choice but to accept it for us to move forward.
They have no choice to accept it for us to move forward. Lawyer Kwame Adolfo, good morning. Hello, Lawyer Adolfo. Okay, sir, please turn on your microphone so we can hear you. It seems your microphone is off. Okay, so we will speak with Lawyer Kwame Adolfo on this conversation.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Let me say good morning to you. Hello.
Yes, lawyer, we can hear you.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me greet you again, and let me greet my brother on the other side, and say hello.
Yes, sir. Please go on.
Yeah. You haven't asked me a question yet, but I presume.
I'm asking the same. I will ask you the same question as I asked Dr. Frederick Odro. Should the ruling of the Supreme Court bring finality to this issue?
Well, that is the law, whether we like it or not. Once the Supreme Court speaks, that is the end. There's no any discretion, so to speak. When the Lord speaks, that is the end of the matter. Now, from the ruling or judgment yesterday, it means the majority of the court, 7-member panel, 5 against 2, says that the orders.
Hello, Lawyer Adolfo.
Of the Speaker declaring some seats, it is unconstitutional, and therefore that is the position of the law now. Nobody else has any discretion. You don't have a choice to say I will obey or I will not obey. It is the law, and therefore we are all bound to follow the position of the law. That's full stop. There's nothing that anybody can do. If you disagree with it, the only avenue for you is for you to appeal it, which at the Supreme Court we say review. And to review means you have to go there and apply within 14 days. And I cannot see that happening, because if even they review, I don't think it will change anything. And therefore, the position as clearly stated yesterday is that the majority before 17th October in law still remains majority. The minority before 17th October, when the Speaker made his decision, still remain minority. Full stop.
Lawyer, for yesterday, you mentioned that the Speaker should not consider appealing the ruling. But some are also of the view that it will be good for our democracy if the Speaker pushes back on this. Don't you think it indeed will be good for our democracy if he goes on that?
The Speaker pushes back what? The Speaker pushes who back? The Supreme Court? Can you push the Supreme Court back? No. Those who are saying that the Speaker should push back, they are clearly wrong. They just don't understand how the system works. When we say checks and balances, it doesn't mean that the Parliament can do whatever they want. It doesn't mean that the President can do whatever he wants. They are wrong. Anything you do must be in accordance with the Constitution, and the Constitution rests in or at the bosom of the Supreme Court. So when the Supreme Court do a curious investigation of what you've done and come out with a ruling that what you've done is unconstitutional, you cannot push back. You cannot. Because so those who are saying push back, they are just either plainly wrong, that they don't know, or they are just playing games. Because the law, once the judge speaks, and you think there's an avenue for you to appeal it, you appeal it. Until it has been overturned, you have no choice than to comply with it. So let's not give too much energy to those who are saying Speaker should push back, because maybe they just don't understand it. Speaker doesn't have any other choice than to comply.
Therefore, some said that yesterday's ruling was a given. It was expected that the ruling would go in favor of the NPP because the Supreme Court is known to rule in favor of the NPP. Looking at various
people will say whatever. People normally would say. Hello.
Yes, Leadofo.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, look. Do we go by what people say, or we go by what the law says? People will say, "Oh, what happened is." I'm surprised that they must be surprised that it wasn't unanimous. Then they would have labeled them unanimous FC again. See, that kind of talk and behavior should not be encouraged, because you may disagree with the judgment of the court, but you have no choice. You have no leeway, so to speak, to mock the court. That is wrong. I have had several instances where judgments have gone against me, and I disagree with them. But I know I'm not allowed to mock the court. That's scandalizing the court. It's a very serious, contemptuous offense. So those who are saying, "Oh, it was expected," let them say what they want to say. But people like me, it would be wrong on my part to give energy to that kind of talk. I think it's wrong, and we should not encourage it.
Right. Therefore, I'll come back to you, but let me go back to Dr. Frederick Ojo. Doc, the NDC caucus have already warned that they won't be returning to Parliament until the rising of the 8th Parliament. How dangerous is this route to the democracy of our country?
But they are saying they won't do what? Please, come again.
They said they won't return to court and they won't return to Parliament until this Parliament ends.
So that betrays their intent all along. That is the essence. If any side chooses not to come to Parliament because of this, and now I think that this whole thing was a political gimmick, which had no effect. Which had no positive effect on our governance system. But the only thing this has done for me is to rest the matter of whether a speaker can just by word of his mouth, without any act of giving people the right to a fair hearing, decide to strip duly elected members of Parliament of their position and deprive their constituents of the right to be represented. Beyond that, this was an unnecessary act that has brought an unnecessary repercussion on our governance process. I mean, if you want to be taken serious, do the right thing. For me, that's what is involved. Why was it even necessary for the speaker to make that ruling? And I'll go back to my question. Why were these people not even given the right to present their side of the case? Why did it take Haruna Idrisu to go on an NDC campaign trail and say very soon some people are going to be stripped of their position and the NDC will become the majority? Then indeed that exactly happens. And people, you were just questioning whether it wasn't expected that the court was going to give a favorable judgment to the MPP. But why aren't we questioning whether the NDC side acted fairly in the way they went about stripping members of Parliament the right to represent their people without even a hearing? I mean, that's even funny. Here is the case, the speaker even refused to go to the court. The speaker refused to file his case. The speaker, the lawyers of the speaker were not even present to hear the verdict. That one, nobody is questioning that. So we think the MPP was going to get a fair hearing. So if the NDC decides not to go to Parliament, look, in an extreme situation, remember, when the e-levy bill was passed, the MPP was able to master, they were able to master a majority and took a decision. In an extreme situation, that could happen. But I'm not even going to go for that. But I have given up on this Parliament, and the repercussion is going to have on future parliaments. The problem we're going to have as a country now is that since 1993 until now, we've had every parliament working on consensus to an extent. Now, that has been killed because the NDC has allowed the hawks within themselves to reign without, to try to move everybody out of their way without any attempt to rein them in. So the problem we're going to have is not even with this parliament alone. Going forward, there's going to be very little collaboration in parliament. So my prayer is that whichever party wins should have no less than 150 to about 160 seats. Otherwise, governance is going to suffer a lot in this country going forward. So whatever the NDC decides, it's up to them. And the whole thing is politics. It is not about the law. It is not about the independence of Parliament, because the Parliament is not made up of the NDC. So we are not there to protect NDC. We must protect our democracy. In protecting our Parliament, we must protect our democracy, but not to protect one side of the political divide. That would be unfair. So let them decide. In fact, yesterday I listened to a couple of NDC members of Parliament talking about the fact that even now it is up to the government to go and beg the speaker. You've taken a decision which has put the government in a very bad situation. And now you are saying that even after losing in court, the government should come and beg you, or the ruling party should come and beg the speaker. And I'm asking myself, where do we think we live in this country? Are we people are living in their own world, deciding what they want, not what is good for us. I believe whatever the NDC decides, remember I've said it, that if I had my way, this parliament will not even sit again and limp till the end of its tenure. That is my candid opinion. Because there is nothing noble in all that has happened. And I think some people should bow their heads in shame. They've not helped the cause of democracy in this country.
Okay. Lawyer Dofo, let me come back to you with this question. The former Supreme Court Judge, Justice Atuguba, says that the High Court should have handled the vacant seat case and explained that the Constitution provides specific guidelines regarding judicial authority over parliamentary vacancies. Do you agree with the former justice? Hello, Lawyer Dofo.
Hello.
Yes.
I think.
Did you get my question, or should I go over it again?
Yeah. No, I think your question was that Justice William Atuguba is of the view that this matter should have settled at the High Court, not the Supreme Court. I think that's the question, isn't it?
Right.
Yes, and I'm saying what Justice Atuguba was saying was in relation to Article 99. That says the question of whether a seat has become vacant.
Hello, Lawyer Dofo.
Hello.
Yes, sir. We lost you for
and
a
that's
moment.
What I was saying. Because the people keep on ringing in, and that is
okay.
That's all right. Please forgive me. You see, what Justice Atiguba was saying is that the question whether or not a seat has become vacant is a matter for the High Court. That's jurisdiction, and that's what Article 99 says. However, when you go to the Supreme Court and say you want the Supreme Court to interpret a certain provision of the Constitution because a public officer, by his conduct, is doing something that is unconstitutional, that one you don't go to the High Court. You come to the Supreme Court for that interpretation. So what Justice Atiguba was saying is different from what those who went to the Supreme Court were seeking. They went there for the Supreme Court to interpret the provision of Article 97 1G to see whether a speaker has that power to declare a seat vacant. And clearly, from the ruling, majority of the bench is of the view that the speaker has no such powers to declare a seat vacant. That is the position of the law. Now, in terms of specific situation of Justice Atiguba stating that he should have been at the High Court, that's where the two that dissented, they were thinking along the lines of Justice Atiguba. But you see, that is not why those people purely or strictly on the
Hello, Lawyer Adolfo. We seem to be losing Lawyer Adolfo throughout the conversation. We'll establish contact with him so that he can finish his submission. But let me come back to you, Dr. Frederick Ojo. Hello, Doc.
Yes, I'm here.
Yesterday, after the ruling, the tone of the NPP MPs changed, and it changed drastically, some will say, and they are now calling for consultation and dialogue. This consultation and dialogue you have been drumming home since the conversation started. Is it not a case of political expediency? In the beginning, we didn't hear that from them about consultation, about dialogue. This time, they are now leading the call for that.
Well, they also don't have any choice but to seek for consultation so that they can transact government business. But the point was that from the very onset of the... La Adolfo is back.
La Adolfo is back, okay.
Senior, please talk. We're waiting for you, in a way.
Yeah, no problem. I think the point is, in terms of consultation and the rest, I always say this is a political problem. There was never a constitutional problem in the first case anyway. It was always political. People feel they have power and they can flex their muscles, and that's all.
Okay. When Adolfo comes back to
nothing will keep on ringing and cutting my line.
Adolfo.
I'm sorry.
Yes. Please, can you position yourself better so that we can hear you better than we are hearing you at the moment?
Is it still better?
Well, it is better than we'll take what we have at the moment. So please continue with your submission.
Okay. I think the position is that with this whole noise that they were making for majority and minority benefits, in the sense that even if you are the majority, you cannot pass any law. The law will not allow you. You cannot pass any law anyway, because if you pass any bill, it will not be signed. So what was the whole point? What was the whole exercise for? Now, I note that you were asking my brother on the other side that the NDC says they will not go to Parliament. Well, fine. It means their own end of service benefits, they have to go and pass. All the MPs, their term is about to finish. If you don't go to Parliament, you don't pass your money. The money we call in our local colloquially, we say your so-called labia. You have to go and pass so that you can get money for your end of service benefits. And if you say you will not go, who loses? I think at the end of the day they will go. You will find that because their own interest is at stake, they will go. It's just the talk. From tomorrow, all the pain and anguish will go down. And they will go back to Parliament and do their work so that they can pass their own end of service benefit. Then they can get some money to go and survive. Or if they don't get elected and come back, they will have some money. So let's not worry too much about them going back to Parliament, because in fact they will go because they have money, interest, and they have to go and pass the law so that they can get their money. And I think you and I should not be wasting too much time on this. Trust me, they will go.
They will go. Lawyer Adolfo, some have long argued that the case that was sent to the Supreme Court has set a bad precedent, as it means that MPs will just be running to the Supreme Court on issues that could even be resolved internally. Is this true? And could this issue at the base of it be issued?
Those things that are they really serious? Or they just claim they're playing games? Are they really serious? When you and your brother, you disagree vehemently, what other avenue is there for you apart from going to court? You have to be fighting on the streets, killing each other. Is that the other alternative? They just are clearly wrong. You see, when a parliament, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hello? Yeah, when there is the final arbiter, and I remember my brother using the same arbiter, the final person who dissolves or resolves the matter is the court. So where somebody goes to court, it's actually something that we should all commend. Go to court. And I actually support those who go to court, because now, having gone to court, we now know that no speaker has the power to declare a seat vacant. Don't you think this is a good thing for the future? I think this is an excellent thing for the future. That in the future, if any speaker comes and wants to even contemplate declaring a seat vacant, he will know that the position of the law is that you can't. Speakers don't have that power. And I think in a way, it's a very good thing that they went to court. We now have a clear way forward to guide us in the future.
Okay. Dr. Joe, you were answering the question before we went back to Lawyer Adolfo. Please go on with your answer.
No, I think he's has answered it certainly, and I'm very happy with the point you raised. Okay. But the point that I would love to add to this whole thing is that why are we afraid of going to court? And then, in this parliament, is this the first time somebody, in fact, the first time somebody took the speaker to court? It was done by lawyer Dafiamapo. And the speaker had saw nothing wrong with that. And he even suspended parliament because he mentioned that there was a case against parliament in the High Court. Now, if we are afraid to build our constitution by going to court to seek interpretation, I wonder what else we are going to say tomorrow we don't want in this country. There is a clear case of a misunderstanding of a constitutional provision. And we are saying, we shouldn't go to the Supreme Court to seek interpretation. If you remember, from the very onset, I indicated to you that I believe the ruling by Speaker Michael Quay set a very bad precedent. And it was being perpetrated by Speaker Babin. Today, we've had the Supreme Court giving a clear interpretation that when it comes to the question of who has crossed carpets, especially if it is not within the same parliament, because the law is clear that if the person seeks to remain in that parliament in the name of the same grouping, whether the person came as an independent or whether the person came on a ticket of a political party and is seeking to cross carpet in the same parliament. Now the question is that, have any of these people come out to say they are no longer members of the parties that brought them to parliament? No. What they are seeking to do is to seek to be elected into parliament on a different ticket from where they are now. Does that amount to crossing carpet? And somebody tells me the Supreme Court must not give interpretation to this. And now we are even raising question of jurisdiction of the court that should handle this matter. I believe strongly, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, and indeed my senior, and I say he's my senior because he was my senior in the secondary school. We both come from the best secondary school in Ghana. Lawyer Adufo will tell you. And if, as Lawyer Adufo has indicated, they went to court to seek interpretation. They didn't go to court to declare the seats vacant or to talk about the vacancy in the court. But we needed interpretation of the Supreme Court so that in future, a speaker will not willy-nilly decide to deprive a constituency of their duly elected member of parliament. That is what went to court. So whoever wants to decide that there was a question of, this was a question of vacancy in parliament and I should have gone to the High Court, that is a cup of tea. So please, let us accept what has happened. Rule of law has prevailed. And you remember, from the very onset, I said, let the rule of law prevail. Even though two of the laws decided they think the Supreme Court shouldn't have handled it. A clear majority, 5 out of the 7, believe that the Supreme Court had the power. It is within their domain to make a ruling on this matter. And they've done that. Let us all go and respect the law. Once again, my view is that let the rule of law prevail. Now the law is prevailing. If somebody wants to play politics and want to decide not to come to parliament to transact business, it's a cup of tea. Okay. And I believe that Ghanaians will never make that mistake again of giving us a hung parliament. It will not help the cause of our democracy. Whichever party wins must win absolute majority and be able to do their work.
Dr. Joe, if you look at recent surveys from the Afrobarometer, public confidence in the Supreme Court has dipped by some 20 points. How dangerous is this to the governance of our country?
Well, it depends on what is happening, the conversation going on, and it's all about perception. Look, the judiciary has had its fair share of challenges since the days of Anas investigations. These have all gone ahead, and comments, but sometimes people who should know better have also created that impression that this is so. I mean, today, the Supreme Court is ruling, and it is going to go in favor of a political party. But once upon a time, the Supreme Court ruled, and it favored a political party. There was no brouhaha about that. I remember in the presidential petition of 2013, all that I remember the MPP side led by then candidate Akufo-Addo saying they accepted the ruling, but they disagree with it. Simplicity. There were no commentaries, there were no threats on members of the bench, there was nothing. Fast track to 2021. What are we hearing? Every time there is an attack on the Supreme Court, and I've said this, especially to our media houses. Let us remember that there are constitutional bodies in this country that cannot come out to issue statements when people attack them. And the Electoral Commission is one such institution. People attack members of the EC and they can't talk. But we don't see the media also protecting them. People come out to attack the members of the Supreme Court and judges for that matter. We had the current Dr. Atuke Forsen. He had a case in court. He moved up to the appeals court. The appeals court acquitted him. That time, the court was good. But when the NDC loses a case, then the whole judiciary is against them. I think it's unfair. We shouldn't do that to ourselves. We are destroying state institutions. And if all of us keep quiet about this, that is the repercussion. People will keep on believing that indeed the court is unfair. But nobody is talking about the fact that the court set free Atuke Forson. So if that is what we want, so be it. Afrobarometer is about perception. So let it be so. But what our leaders say go to a far extent to influence the perception of our people.
So our leaders must be circumspect in their words.
Absolutely, because one day they will be occupying those positions. I do hope when they are there, they wouldn't still want us to have such opinions about our state institutions. Look at Dr. Afarijan, what he suffered in this country. Whichever party was in opposition felt he was against them. But today, what are we saying? I mean, if a party appoints members of the EC or the Supreme Court, we even presume they are on the side of that group. And in fact, I'm going to look at the 7 Supreme Court judges who appointed them. And in fact, whether their voting synchronizes with the parties that appointed them, then we will see clearly that we are even making our Supreme Court a partisan institution.
Therefore, let me ask you the same question I've asked Dr. Frederick Ojo.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, Adolfo, can you hear me?
What is the question?
Yes. If you look at the recent surveys from Afrobarometer, it says that public confidence in the Supreme Court has dipped by some 20 points. And I asked that, how dangerous is this, and what can the Supreme Court do to restore public confidence in them? Because it seems that there's no public confidence. Today, the Manasseh Azuri said that Ghana's justice system is worse than the constitutional crisis in Parliament. Those chiding Speaker Badman should equally be worried about Ghana's judiciary and the conduct of institutions of the state that are supposed to be independent. All of these conversations about the Supreme Court and how they are not independent and how people don't trust in them, how dangerous is this conversation that keeps on heightening? And what can the Supreme Court also do to restore public confidence in them? Dr. Ojo has said that there are some institutions that can't come out to defend themselves, like the EC, like the Supreme Court. But if they can't defend themselves, what more can be done so that this kind of perception does not continue to take the center stage?
Look, the question is a very embedded.
Hello, Lawyer Adolfo. Okay. We'll try and establish contact with Lawyer Adolfo, but Dr. Frederick Ojo, you were saying that we are destroying our state institutions with these kind of comments, especially as some of these institutions are unable to defend themselves. But what can the ordinary Ghanaian do if that is what they think, based on what they see? Could it be that these state institutions should also position themselves in a favorable light? Will that help them?
You see, the Supreme Court handles numerous cases. The number of political cases they handle, I believe, is less than 5% of the cases they handle. But it is the political cases that are publicly discussed And that we know that our opinions are so much shaped by people we perceive to be our leaders. So when the political leaders make some of those pronouncements, they don't think about the other numerous cases the Supreme Court will be handling. Now, for me, there is very little the Supreme Court can do, because they by nature cannot come out and talk. They cannot go on social media. They cannot even come on the normal media. I don't know whatever name we want to call it. They cannot engage in public discourse. So for me, I only think that the onus lie with the media, the politicians, to begin to tell the truth. That what these people do is not only about political cases. The cases they handle are numerous. The political cases that go to the Supreme Court are very few and far between. So the problem, the onus, I don't think lie with them, because by the nature of our construct, our constitutional construct, these institutions and their professionalism does not allow them to come out to respond to issues as we are seeing. They will only talk about them in their courts. And the matters they raise in their courts are not reported either. So if we can, the media should also give them the rulings they give. They should subject these rulings to discussions. The comments the judges make, they should publicize them for us to hear them. They themselves cannot do it, and I don't want them to do it. They have never done that, and they shouldn't do it, because we have political leaders who want to win elections at all costs. It doesn't matter what they say, how they destroy. People will be happy to see even overthrow of the constitution, so that people they perceive to be their friends will come to power for them to lead the country. For them, they don't care about our democracy. But democracy is not only about election. It's not only about having a parliament. But we also need an effective judiciary, an impartial judiciary, which will not be cowed into making decisions just because somebody is going to say one thing or the other. You see from the ruling, 5-2, that these are independent-minded people who have made their decision. Let us respect the law. I'll come back to the same argument. We should always respect the law. Rule of law is better than anything. The democracy we are experiencing is better than the dictatorships we've suffered. So let us build on our democracy. Some of these events help to strengthen our democracy if we will not go play politics with it. I mean, you mentioned Manasseh. I'm even surprised. Manasseh is saying the judiciary, because the judiciary did not rule in favor of what, or did not rule in what he thought should have been. Meanwhile, he's not even addressing all the key issues in the matter. Even if, and that is where I will even start my argument, even if the Speaker had the right to interpret the Constitution, should the Speaker have given the people he removed the right to be heard? Isn't it a legal principle? The right to be heard and to be fairly heard. He chose not to go to the Supreme Court. But he even went there to say that the Supreme Court should overturn his own decision. Why did he go there? And when he went, he was heard. But he did not even choose to let his own deputy, his second deputy speaker, speak for himself in his own defense, or even bring a counsel to speak for him. And we think that was fair. Please, let us respect the law in this country. Okay. I do not care what anybody says. But if we all agree to respect the law and allow the law to rule us, but not to let people's sentiments rule us, we'll be better off. I believe in the rule of law. I don't believe in the rule of men. Let everybody be under the law, and we as a people will be better off.
Thank you, Dr. Oduro. Thank you for this conversation on the Supreme Court. But before you go, let me ask one last question of you before you go.
The very last,
yes. The very last one. Some say that the ruling of the Supreme Court does not have a bearing on where the MPs sit. Last time we had this conversation, you spoke about conventions. But
I'm happy. Yes. I'm happy to remember the things I see.
But this time they are saying that it does not have a bearing on where the MPs sit. Now Supreme Court has made their ruling. Obviously, the NDC is not happy. They say they will not come to Parliament. If they do come to Parliament, where do you see all of these playing out?
You see, Parliament does not start with the 8th Parliament. Even prior to the 1992 Constitution, we have had parliaments. And I'm saying we build conventions, and the conventions become part of our systems. System is not only about one thing, it's about several things. So, if there is a convention that one side sit on in one place, the other side sit on the other, why did Speaker Bagbin then decide there is a majority group? So this is not the first time the NDC had gone to sit on the majority side or the right side of Parliament. Speaker Bagbin himself said the majority group, that was when we first had this, is the MPP plus the independent. And they went, this NDC side moved away. Remember the incident where a female member of Parliament from the MPP side sat on the lap of a male NDC member of Parliament? I hope you remember that incident.
Yes,
I don't want to mention it. What was it palatable? So I would insist that unless we are today saying that our Parliament, because one side is not accepting a court ruling, there is no more the convention of one side sitting in anywhere, and that they are all going to sit just anyway. Why is there a need even to put name tags in front of seats? These things are done to bring orderliness. You see, you cannot legislate on every single issue. So you build, you develop conventions and usages to support what the law says, so that over time we know that yes, there are unwritten things, and certain things are not even written down, but they are observed because it is deemed desirable. It is considered the appropriate thing to do. So if the NDC side chooses not to go in there, and because they want to sit on the right-hand side, so they won't go to Parliament, so be it. If I personally am no more, I don't really care whether this Parliament sits again. In fact, I'm praying they don't sit again, because I'm not expecting anything good to come out of them.
All right. Dr. Frederick Oduro, thank you for your time this morning.
You're welcome.
Dr. Frederick Oduro is a governance expert. We were also joined by lawyer Kwame Adolfo, who is a constitutional lawyer. It's rather unfortunate we were unable to get a submission on our last question, but we'll do well to have that submission anytime we have a conversation with him. But we've been looking at the Supreme Court's ruling that Speaker Bagbin's vacancy declaration was unconstitutional and all that has arisen after their ruling. The NDC says they won't be going back to Parliament. We are here to see how far that goes. But at the moment that the Supreme Court's decision, we're waiting to read the detailed decision. It was a 5 2 decision, 2 not in favor and 5 in favor of what the Speaker declared. He declared some seats vacant. This all started when Haruna Idrisu on a campaign platform said that the NDC was going to invoke Article 97 of the Constitution to have some seats declared. The Speaker subsequently declared those seats vacant. The leader of the NPP in Parliament, Alexander Panyumarkin, went to the Supreme Court seeking an interpretation of the provision under the Constitution. The Supreme Court stayed the execution of Speaker's declaration. He also, not in favor of it, went back to the Supreme Court to challenge it. The Supreme Court maintained their stance, and beyond that, the Supreme Court has given a decision, a declaration, that they ruled that Speaker's decision or declaration was not constitutional. So it goes back to anybody who occupied a certain position before 17th October when that decision was taken by Speaker. It means that the NPP is still majority in Parliament, the NDC is minority. We're waiting to see what transpires in Parliament when Parliament says the NPP is calling for consensus building, and they are saying that there should be conversations now that this matter has been taken care of, some finality has been brought to the matter. We'll see how far this goes. But that's all for our main discussion today on ABC in the Morning. We will be back. Stay with us.
Over the past 8 years, the NPP has significantly improved support for our most vulnerable citizens. From expanding school meal programs, enrolling 300,000 more people in the LEAP initiative, enhancing health care for expectant mothers, we've strengthened the fabric of our society. But our work isn't done. We are committed to further enhancing these programs and introducing new initiatives to ensure that every Ghanaian has the opportunity to thrive. Vote for progress. Vote for care. Vote for Baumia. Baumia means business. Over the past 8 years, the NPP has significantly improved support for our most vulnerable citizens. From expanding school meal programs, enrolling 300,000 more people in the LEAP initiative, enhancing health care for expectant mothers, we've strengthened the fabric of our society. But our work isn't done. We are committed to further enhancing these programs and introducing new initiatives to ensure that every Ghanaian has the opportunity to thrive. Vote for progress. Vote for care. Vote for Baumia. Baumia means business.
Up next is Politics Today. On Politics Today this morning, we are looking at the shifting sand of political ideologies, paying attention to the NPP and the NDC. We take a look at the seeming change in political ideologies of political parties, particularly focusing on the New Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress. These major political parties have far and large dominated our political landscape, and historically the NPP has been seen as a party that champions capitalism and liberal democracy. Founded on principles of economic liberalism, private enterprise and limited state intervention, the NPP positioned itself as the political arm of individuals and businesses who believe in market-driven solutions for national growth. On the other side, the NDC emerged with roots deeply embedded in socialism and social democracy. Their philosophy leaned towards extensive state involvement in the economy, championing policies aimed at equitable distribution of wealth, state-led industrialization, and social welfare programs. But in recent years, there appears to be enough evidence which seems to suggest a gradual drift in the NPP's approach, leading to questions about whether the party still adheres strictly to its capitalist roots. Policies like the implementation of free senior high school, national health insurance scheme, which requires significant state funding. Additionally, there is also the promise of free tertiary education for persons with disabilities by the NPP, should it succeed in maintaining power in this upcoming elections. All these interventions by the NPP suggest a move towards social programs often more characteristic of left-leaning parties. The NDC, meanwhile, has been showing signs of embracing more market-friendly policies with its promise of tax incentives for private businesses. In the past decade, the economic manifestos have included provisions that encourage private sector participation and public-private partnerships, suggesting a drift away from the classical socialist model. Thus, we want to explore the underpinning of these seeming deviations from the traditional ideologies by both parties. That is what we want to look at today on Politics Today. Joining us for a conversation on this is Dr. Samuel Afriyie, who is a political analyst at the Kumasi Technical University. Dr. Afriyie, it's good to speak with you again on ABC in the morning. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. It's always my pleasure, and greetings to your special viewers as well.
Thank you. Dr. Afriyie, in your view, what are the main reasons behind the NPP and the NDC deviating from their traditional ideological stance?
Yes, once again, thank you. Deviating, whilst the NDC was pursuing socialism approach of governance, and the NPP also going into that is a private or the capitalist approach. But some of the reasons that has led to this change, especially from the capitalist approach, as we all know that the NPP is into these private-led kind of rule, that is resources of managing the resources of the country. You see that all the policies, I think you mentioned some about health issues and other things that is making, I think that is making the NPP drift from the capitalist approach. I think that the dynamic or the way our system or the people even led to this, that is the situation on the ground, meaning that the needs of the people. Because if you are in government or you are a leader and you have a certain agenda, but the situation of the day would demand that you need to change your way of doing things, and that is what has led the NPP to change, because they realize that even though resources are supposed to be handled by individuals to manage, they realize that there are certain group of people, the poverty level, the needs of the people in terms of some social need, the private people cannot handle those things. So the government, that is the leader or the government, saw the need, realized the need that they have to look at it in terms of providing some of these social needs for the citizen. So it is what happened in the country that you need to satisfy your people, and that is what I think resulted into the NPP changing entirely from that is not entirely, but moving into the social needs of the people as compared to the NDC. The NDC also, as we know, should have also been in the socialist approach, but they also seem not to have these social policies for the people. That is the citizens. So initially, it is. I think another reason is that the copycat approach. You know, everything that we see in the Western democracy, we tend to pick it. And I think that we need to be very, very careful, because it's not everything that happens in certain countries or certain ideologies or certain policies that can work in our developing countries, because we are developing countries and we need to look at certain things critically. And even the whole world is even changing into what we call it, the private and the social. They are combining the two. I think I was sometime in China, and in China now they are even encourage private individuals to come to also invest in the economy and also to manage some of their resources for them. And these are the reasons. So the world in general is also changing in terms of ideological, where it will not be purely, capitalist, or also purely socialist. And you can even realize that all socialist ideologies are even collapsing, because they realize that it's not the right way to handle the country resources. Russia is encouraging individuals to also invest in the economy and also to manage some of their resources. We see, I think there are one or two countries that, but when you look at the Western, that is the Eastern Europe, all of them are now turning. Poland and all these countries are now drifting from the ideology of socialist intent. So if you're in a country and you realize that these things, the social dynamics is changing, then you also have to change.
Dr. Fiye, would you also say that it is because most Ghanaians don't vote based on ideologies? That is why our two major political parties are able to shape shift, if that is the right word to use, are able to shape shift when it comes to the things they do. In certain jurisdictions, people vote based on the ideological principles the parties uphold, and so because they are conservative, they will always vote in line with the conservative nature of the party. But could it be that in Ghana, I mean, we vote because we love the party, not necessarily because we are in line with the ideas that the party runs with, the fundamentals that hold the party as a party?
Yes, I agree to some extent that in the olden times, you see, the world is changing, and that is changing a lot of things in the mindset of people. So they also have to drift. And now you see, initially, we realized that the ideologies were at play, and even on the global scene. But now you see that is dying out, all because that the generations that are coming are no more into ideologies. They don't see that they are now looking at meeting their needs and wants, and that is what they are focused on. So it is not like the conservative that in the olden times, I am into this, I am into that. Now what people want is that, is my life changing as a citizen, or is my life not changing? So they are not, the generation that are coming of late, they are not much concerned about the ideologies that we are espousing for these parties. What they want is that, are my needs being met by the government of the day? And that is their basis. But we have people who are conservatives, and I think that will be the party loyalists and other old people and other people who think that agenda needs to be pursued. And seriously, you can even say that the NPP should have pursued their capitalist approach and leave the rest to government to hand. But they realize that they also have to meet the needs of the people, because a government are supposed to meet the needs of the people. You are there for the people. So when you realize that there are certain needs that need to be satisfied, you need to do that rather than pursuing the agenda of ideology. So now the ideologies are not much being considered in this current generation when they want to vote for parties to rule. I don't know what do people say. And that I think that the MPP has been smart enough to realize that they have to meet the needs of the people by coming up with a lot of social policies, and that is negating the needs of negating the NDC approach of being a socialist, and that is a difficult thing that the NDC is facing now. Because you are now being branded as a socialist party, but you have not been seen that coming up with policies that meet the needs of the people. And that is where the issue comes in here. So the MPP is like combining two ideologies so that they can manage the resources. And I think that is what is working for the MPP now.
Okay. Dr. Fia, to what extent do you think these shifts reflect a response to local or global economic pressures?
These ideologies and these global, you see, everything stems from the I think I'll use the word of former, I think Dalati, yes, the former presidential candidate, domestication. I am one of the view that when we are picking certain things from the Western world, we are being educated into the Western world line. But sometimes we need to look at our context, our local situation, and apply them. I am one of those people that believe in thinking global, acting local. You think internationally, but you act local. And that is what we call the localization, that is in terms of international politics, where you are supposed to think in the international, but you have to always try to act local. And I believe that most of the things that we go to school and learn, most of the things that we're copying from the Western or other countries, we need to look at our own local context and see how we can make it a lot of impact from it. But we just copy cut some of these things doesn't make, and that has affected a lot of policies in some of these government policies that they introduced. It has affected because it is happening in America, it is happening in London, it is happening in Germany. Then we bring the same model, but don't forget that the people, our mindset, our upbringing, the way we behave, our culture, our beliefs, these things come into play whenever you want to implement some of these things. So I think we should also look at within and also ensure that anything that we implement, it fits into our local needs and expectations, so that we can make use of some of these things. I am not of the view that you pick everything that even this democracy that we are talking about, we have not grown much into some of these things that we have been doing, but we can copy and try to be flexible and manage it to suit our culture, our thinking, and our vision as well. Because if somebody has practiced democracy more than 300 years and you are into 30 or 40 years, you cannot think the same way. You cannot behave the same way as they are doing in terms of their democracy. Because we all come from different locations, different background, our upbringing, our culture, our race. These things come into play. So I believe that we need to look at some of these ideologies and contextual, so that we can be doing the best for our citizens.
Dr. Friye, do you believe that these ideological shifts are strategic moves to broaden their voter base, or signs of genuine policy evolution?
You see, when I talk about competition, and don't forget that parties compete, for political power. So if you are competing, you also need to be smart. If you realize that you are into certain ideologies, as a lot of people say that it's only the fool who doesn't change his mind. So you don't just look at and say that I'm not that type of mechanistic people I believe in dynamism. I believe in flexibility. So if you are doing something, you realize that you can meet people because you are a leader, and at the same time you are a party, and you want political power. And when you come in, you are supposed to meet the needs of the citizens. So when you realize that there are certain areas that you think you can do to at least to satisfy your citizens, I think that you have to move in. And I think that is what the MPP has been smart to move into these socialist policies or social policies to blend with what their private-led kind of system or ideology. So I believe that now it can classify the MPP as a mixed ideology because they are not only into capitalism, but they have blended some of these kind of socialist policies. So it is about a smartness. It's about also meeting the needs and also maintaining your political power, because we have a lot of people that are within certain class that these needs that we are all talking about in terms of education, in terms of these NHIS, that now a lot of people are on board. You can have free medical attention and also free education. You see, these are the things that benefit a lot of people, and the society will always be up. Even in the advanced countries, there are some levels of some of these freebies that they give it to their citizens, especially to a certain group or a class of people. And that is always need to happen, because if you don't do that, then there's no need for you to be in government. So now the old way, the colonialism approach, now I don't think that it is working of late. And the government of the day or the party or the leader of the day, if you are smart, you can also continue to be in power and blend these policies as well.
Doc, you call it smartness, meeting needs and holding on to political power. However, don't these political parties stand the risk of losing their die-hard supporters who have supported them based on ideologies? If I, for one, support a party because it is capitalist or because it is socialist, and now I see that it is veering from the very foundation on which it was built, isn't the party supposed to be bothered that their casting and die supporters will be lost?
No. And I think that a few will be looking at that. But you see, even when we look at the context of the MPP, you see that even the members of the party, the loyalists are even boasting of these socialist kind of policies. When you go, they'll be talking about free SHS, and they are boasting. They enjoy it. They are proud of it. That even though that is where we were moving, but now we are into this, and people should vote for us, and that is what they are basing on. And even now, you realize that the MPP is basing on these social policies a lot for their campaigns, and that is what I think that is making the NDC difficult, because we believe that we are socialists. The MPP believe that they are capitalists, but now you've captured these policies into your side. And don't forget that the MPP is not losing sight of the role of the private-led or the capitalist approach. They are not just throwing it away, just that they are blending the two to ensure that they maximize their capacity in government. And that is what I think that is working for them. So if you are not smart, when I talk about smart, you know that you need to develop or be innovative to outweigh your competitors. And I think that in politics, when we say smartness, that means that you tend to come up with new things. You tend to outweigh your other political party with different new ways of doing things. And that is what I believe that is working. And there's nothing wrong. There are only few people that can say that no. But I don't think that the MPP is now making the socialist kind of no. When you look at their manifesto, you realize that all their policies were centered on these and the private-led in terms of industry, the agenda. I think the 1D, 1F or whatever, I think that one, you see that is private-led. And most of their policies, some of these things go in line with what? The private involvement. And I don't think that they have just shouldered that, but they are just adding up with the socialists. And that socialist is also working for them. And I'm telling you, my dear, it's a key for the MPP in most of the, I think for during the full time, it is working for them. It is really, really working for them. And that is why they always add up new socialist policies or social policies so that they can maintain themselves in power. And I think that is all what you, at the end of the day, every party, no matter your ideology, your aim is to what? To gain power. So, and to make use of it. So if you think that if you have to veer into this area and to make sure that you get meet the needs of the people and be in power, that is good for you.
Dr. Friye, before you go, IEA says that the elections will be, the decisions for voting will be taken on 6 key decisions. Voters will go to the polls looking at LGBTQ issues, Galamsey issues, free SHS, economy. It mentioned 6 key issues. Yesterday we highlighted 2 of them for our discussion, and I want to ask you your thoughts on that before we let you go. Free SHS and the economy. Do you believe that Ghanaians will be going to the poll to make decisions based on these two factors?
The 2 factors of that is free SHS
and the economy.
And the economy. You see, I have been stressing on the economy, and you see the free SHS. Now we thought that it could have been off these what do we call it, the campaign, but the feedback from the people is at least is making the difference. It's making the political parties to make sure that, especially the MPP. Can you imagine about 7.7 million people benefiting from these policies? So which means that every corner of the country, you will have at least someone benefited from what? These policies. So the effect of that policy is at every home. So when it comes to education, the free SHS, because of that number, it is not an easy number. 5.7 million people is not, and you know that it's a family issue. This one is a family issue. The family issue is that you have parents that will take care of these children, but this policy is alleviating some kind of relief for these parents. So let's assume that we have about 2 million family, that is a family, benefit from this. Then you see the effects on what in the system or in the economy. When it comes to the economy, I have a different view that if you're not careful and you base on the economy, you might fail, because the economy will be based on people in the city, and in the cities, especially it will go to the floating voters or even the new voters. It won't be the loyal party members, because if I'm an NDC loyalist, no matter how the economy, even if the dollar comes into one city, I will still vote for the NDC. MPP loyalists, if the dollar is even 30 cities, they will still vote for the MPP. So here, the emphasis of the economy is based on people who have that is the swing voters and even what the new voters on our voters register. That will where the focus will be. So it is not like straight ahead that the economy will play a role in all the aspects of what the country, because when you go outside the country, somebody needs is not about GDP or inflation, because the person will not be traveling, the person will not be, but maybe the person need what road, need what do we call it, certain kind, let's say healthcare, need education. So in that case, you realize that these things is what people are going to base on. The economy will be based on people that are in the city, and even that about people that are swing voters and also the what do we call it, the new voters. This is where the message will be catching up for those people. So when the NCC came out with their areas that people might base on, the economy was number 4. That is the fourth one, where education, health, infrastructure, and economy and those things were in that order. So you see that the economy, that is why if you're not careful, you base on the economy, you might fail you might fail because the basis of voting for this year, that is the December 7th, will not only based on what? On economy. Some people in other areas, when you get in touch with them, they will be concerned about the road that is not motorable. So when you do that thing for them, they don't think about the economy that you're talking about, GDP and inflation and debt. These debts will be based on those on the higher class and those people. That was what we might be looking at. So my dear, the basis of voting this time, if you are not careful and you stress on the economy, you might fail. Because when the MPP introduced this DRIP, the DRIP one that at least comes along with constructing roads and other things, is someone's need is what is being solved. A problem is being solved for that purpose. So that one, if you construct a road, that person will vote, but will not be looking at the GDP or the inflationary rate. The person doesn't come to town because most of us that live in town is where, because we buy everything, is where we will feel the economic pressures more than someone who is what the outskirts, the city. So even though it is all, because all research that has come for the basis of voting, the economy is not number one. The economy is not number one. So if you put economy in number one, you are bound to fail for your target group. And don't forget that everyone has his own basis of voting.
Dr. Free, I know I said that was the last question, but let me ask you another
don't worry, I'm here.
question. When we look at the political ideologies, see, some smaller parties have strong ideological leanings. What does it mean for these smaller parties? Could they gain traction with voters who are looking for alternatives that stay true to specific principles? Big political parties, obviously, we see that they dabble in different ideologies just to meet the needs of the nation. But for those who always want to stay true to certain principles, they want to be known to align to a principle and then take that stance. What does it mean for smaller political parties who also have very distinct ideological principles?
You know that whenever you form a political party, you are supposed to let us know your values, your principles, your thinking, and your direction. And that is fact. It's a fact. But you have all these things. It's like coming up with a company and you have mission and vision, your intent and how you can survive in the business, your goals and everything. But you realize that in some businesses, they get to a point, then you have to change. You have to be flexible to change to meet the needs of the people. So that is your customers. But when in politics, when you come to this point, you need to realize that it's the people that you are in. So when the people are changing, when the needs of the needs of the people are changing, you also need to change. And that is why I'm saying that a party that is dynamic will always change to meet the needs of the people. So these smaller parties, you see that seriously, you might not see them having this strong stand of their vision of becoming this ideology on that. You see that the smaller parties are always concentrating on meeting the needs of the people. When I come, I'll do this. Because when you look at Cheddar and other these independent and other parties, that is, you realize that they concentrate on the people and also the private led resources, and that is what is focused. So, my dear, the system where these smaller parties, because you want to market yourself to these, that is the citizens, for them to accept your ideology. The people that you want them, you are targeting them for your message. Their needs are different. They are not concerned about what you are talking about of these, whatever. What I want is an education. What I want is health. What I want is that my life will improve. That is the measure. Because when you look at the two parties, when they were coming out with their manifesto, The first, they enumerate the key issue that was confronting Ghana: unemployment, infrastructure, and I think economic issues like inflation, debt. You see, you list the issues or the problems, then you tell us how you are going to solve. And even when you talk about the unemployment situation, how the NDC want to solve it is that they want to base on the 24-hour economy to handle the unemployment situation. So when it comes to these smaller parties, they also have a different way of trying to handle some of these things. So for me, I think that the smaller parties, I have not seen them having a stand, but I think that they have also blended the two and also working in lines with what I think they are there. If they come in the bigger parties, they think that it can be of help to them, then they will align to you. It is not about them believing, because now the NPP has blended the socialist ideas into their governance system. So you can go with them or you cannot go with them, you go to the NDC. So the smaller parties, I don't think that they will have a strong stand now, but they will move with the major parties that can meet some of their manifesto. That's the smaller parties, their manifesto. And I think that will work for them, because some of them, they believe that they cannot win power, and but they just want to align so that some of their policies can be implemented by the major political parties, and that is what works for them. The NPP is being on a strategic position that they can combine the two, so any smaller party can align with them. Hello, my dear. I think you were.
Please
I cut
go
you.
on.
Sorry.
After that, I will ask the question. Please go on.
I think I'm okay now.
All right, Dr. Fiye,
yes.
How do you think, or to what extent do you think social issues and religious and cultural values play into the way political parties shift to be able to meet the needs of the electorate?
Yes, you talk about religious
and cultural values.
You talk about and then what, cultural, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. You know, these two things are critical in our development, in terms of our mindset, in terms of the people. And, you know, research has shown that the basis of religion is not a key factor it's part, but it's not one of the major factors that people tend to use to vote. And that is that because of the way we have built ourselves, the way we have lived together as one people in Ghana, that is the secret about what people are not basing on that to vote. In the sense that you may have, at least any family, you may have these two kind of religion in there. So if they have lived together, that will not be a major basis. And that is why this time, if you want to play the religious card, if you're not careful, you might fail. Because every family, every tribe, there is a component of Christianity and less of this religion playing in there. So religion per se plays the role of our beliefs, of our values. But when it comes to politics, then you need to be very, very careful when you want to use that. Because religion shapes the way we live, the way we do our things. We believe in this, we don't believe in that. That is a religion for us. And it's shaping us and it's working for us. All of us, we all have friends who are Muslims, we all have friends who believe in Buddhists and then these traditionalists. We all live together. And it's shaping the way we behave, our behavior, our way of living. It's helping us. But if you are not careful and you want to use it to play a card in these elections, that because I am a Christian, vote for me, because I'm a Muslim, vote for me, the research that I have had a chance on is not giving that as a credit. So we need to be very careful when we want to use that. And culturally, you know, our culture also defines who we are. And that also is critical. And that's why I say that initially you asked me about these ideology and whatever. You think locally, like you behave to suit the order of the day, and then you always think the global perspective. Cultural issues are also critical. It's critical, but we tend to use it to mold our ways of. So it's not everything that we use politics in it. So if you're not careful and you go in with these kind of issues, that binds people together, and you want to use to play a part of it. And I think that would be dangerous for all of us. So culturally, I think Ghanaians' cultural values and beliefs are still there. And I don't believe that any political party will use that to play. No, it can't work for you. When you go to religion, it can't work for you. It can't work because we live together. We are not living the hardline societies like some countries, what they are doing. Because some countries, when you believe in certain religion, you had a stance. Our religious background are not those fundamentalists or the hardlines. We are those kind of the flexible type of religion where we can accommodate all dissenting views from other religions, and that is a key, and it's working for us. So I will say that politicians or parties should avoid using these religion cards. If not, you will fail, because Ghanaians are expecting people that will solve their problem for them.
Okay. Dr.
Yes, that is what they want. Yes.
In 30 seconds, yesterday the Supreme Court gave a ruling. Do you believe that that ruling will have a bearing on our elections this year?
Yes, it will have a bearing in the sense that any party that tends to hinder the progress of the country, the people will punish you for that. Supreme Court has a right. Is a constitution that has given them the role to interpret the constitution. Parliament have their way of doing their work, that is to pass bills and to make laws. And so if you are doing something, and maybe it might be right tomorrow, but today somebody can go in for interpretation today and it might be wrong. So I believe that the Supreme Court has spoken, and I believe that again, Parliament, the Speaker himself, should make peace and to make the Parliament to work.
Okay.
Because it's unfortunate that it seems this kind of show of power. But every arms of government, as we went to school, we learned about separation of powers, and we also learned about what? Checks and balance. So we have separation of powers, but at the same time we have what? Checks and balance. So if there's anything, I think that it will be of interest for the Speaker to abide by the Supreme Court. He has nothing. Even elections, they make decisions. They made their judgment. So if they made this judgment and you think that it's then you abide by it, and later you go and challenge it. Okay. So for peace to reign and for parliamentary democracy to improve, these are some of the ways. If you have an issue, you send it to the Supreme Court. Even in my church, there are issues that I think that I'm not okay with it.
Okay, so that's Dr. Samuel Lefree, a political analyst at the Kumasi Technical University. He says that any party that tends to hinder the progress of the country will be punished by the people. And this was the question I asked about the Supreme Court's ruling having any bearing on our elections this year. And he says that this generation that is coming up is not so much concerned about party ideologies, rather concerned about needs. So it is on the party, it falls on the various political parties to know how to blend the ideologies and also what is happening in the nation to be able to meet the needs of the people. At the base of it all, it's about meeting the needs of the people. It is about meeting the needs of the people, and that's a conversation on politics today, the shifting sand of political ideologies. We want to open the lines for you to speak to us in the next 5 minutes. The question we want to ask you is, what made you choose the party you support now? on political ideologies, we want to ask you, what made you choose this party you are supporting now? Call us on 0539161609, 0539161609. Tell us if you support your party because of the ideologies your parties hold in high esteem, or you like the party, as people will say, I was born into the party, or you like the party because of the things the party has been doing. Call us on 0539161609 and let us know why you support the party you support at the moment. Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from? Okay, we have lost the caller, but call us, and when you call us, kindly turn down the volume of your TV so we can hear you perfectly. Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Hello.
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 Yes, I can hear you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Lawrence, calling from Oyo Navota region.
Lawrence, what made you choose the party you support now?
It's about the progress. Let's say in Navota region, I support a party based on when it comes to development in the educational sector or the finance or the health sector. But right now, as I'm talking to you, I don't belong to any party again.
Okay.
I don't do party politics, but rather the progression, not the retrogression of the country. So that is the reason.
Okay. Thank you, Lawrence.
Welcome.
Let's hear from you to 0539161609 and tell us what made you support the party you support now. Is it because, like they say, you were born into the party? Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Samuel Odoi, calling from Ringway Estate.
Okay. What party do you support?
I don't support parties, I support ideas.
Okay, so which idea do you support? Which idea makes you vote for a party?
I believe in social interventions that affect everybody. You know, like this health insurance, if it works well, okay? And the banking system, if it's working well. And things that affect everybody, you know, very, very basic things that affect everybody. Because if my yardstick for me now is during President Kufuor's time, okay? When everything was working well, you go to the hospital, you want to pay money, the doctor will advise you to go for the health insurance, which for me was fantastic. Pregnant women were going to hospital for free. For me, it was fantastic. The aged were being taken care of. So I believe in things like this, yes.
All right. Thank you for calling. Let's
Welcome.
also hear from you, 053-916-1609. Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Oh, good morning. My name is Fianu Bedema. I'm calling from Medina.
Okay, Fianu. What party do you support and what made you choose that party?
Oh, I support the NDC, and the reasons why I chose to support the party is basically, for me, it's about trust. You know, my perceptions of trust amongst the leadership of the party, because you know, even sometimes I veer to the other party, but for me, it's all based on trust, because if you don't trust and believe that that party is going to come to do the things that they said they're going to do, then there's really no point in, you know, in voting for that party. It has to be based on trust.
Okay. Thank you for calling, Fianu. Let us also know why you support the party you support. Is it because of an ideology? Is it because it is what you've known since your childhood? You saw your parents supporting the party, so you decided to also follow in their stead. Good morning, your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Bismarck Owusu, calling from Kumasi.
Bismarck, what party do you support and why do you support that party?
I support NPP.
Okay.
And the reason is very simple. They are the only party in Ghana that is interested in social intervention programs where everyone will benefit from it. From President Kufuor's time, administration to Kufuor's time, Kufuor's time, they are making a lot of social interventions that benefit the poor and the needy.
But Bismarck, if we were looking at social interventions, the party that is a socialist party is NDC. How come you don't support them rather?
The party what?
The party that is more social, the party that has built itself on social ideologies is NDC. So if we were looking at social socialists, we should have been looking at the NDC. Why not?
They have lost their ideology. They have lost their ideology. So it has shifted from their dynamics to NPP, simply because they have never implemented any social intervention program in the life of this country.
Okay.
Every time they are in power, they are much more interested in infrastructure. Even infrastructure-wise, Akufo-Addo administration from 2017 till now has done far better than even their two major administrations, Lawrence's time, Atame's time, and Mahama's time.
Okay.
So socialists, they are socialists, but they are not in that ideology. They have lost it.
All right.
And MPP has capitalized it, and they are making it better.
Okay. Thank you, Bismarck. Bismarck from Kumasi. Let's take 2 more callers and we'll be done with the conversation. Why do you support the party you support? What made you choose them? Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning. Hello.
Sir, please turn down the volume of your TV set so we can hear you.
I am Mr. Yobua.
When you call, please turn down the volume of your TV set. This is because if you leave the volume up, there will be interferences and you may not be able to actively speak with us. Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Good morning, I'm Justice.
Justice?
From Tamale.
Did you say your name is Justice?
Yes, please.
Okay. Justice, what made you support the party you support?
I'm supporting, Justice. I'm supporting NDC.
Okay.
Just simple as that. When NDC always come power, you could see that we are having peace. But when NDC always come with power, you could see that it will be like quarreling and other stuff and what war everywhere when things always were hardship.
Okay. Thank you, Justice. So Justice supports the NDC. Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from? We have lost the caller. I will give you the opportunity to call us back. Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Good morning. I am Mr. Yobua calling from Wenchi.
Oh, Mr. Entry, you've called back. Mr. Entry, what made you choose the party you support now?
I support the MPP.
Okay.
I support the MPP. And the reason why I support the MPP is that I was born into it and I will die into it.
Okay. Mr. Entry, thank you. Mr. Entry Abua says that he supports NPP. He was born into it and he will die in the party. For him, it is from cradle to grave for him.
Hi.
Okay, someone else has called. Let's speak with the person, give them the opportunity. Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Someone else has called. Let's speak with the person. Hello.
Hello. Our production team says we should take one last caller. Hello, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from? Obekachi. Okay, your friend was saying, if I know free. And I didn't see na woody party a woody nechi. I don't know woody nechi.
Mekasefli Kumase.
Pacho see your friend saying?
Mustafa na Mekasefli Kumase.
Okay, Mustafa.
So the menu ba ko bi kan say ye wo ne to MPP. Ye de ya santi ni nko ade e de MPP an ye wo. Nti yen hwese bia ye be ye wo ye tum te no an ye pe.
Nti enye adwuma pa bi a MPP a na say adwuma pa a wonye nti na we support it.
Yeah, na the place such as Blair, yeah, so sad the guitar, but the identity na yen support. Bibia ye so ni bibia mame.
Nti NDC nye bibia bema wa support NDC Mustafa.
But you say?
You say NDC nye infa dwumedie bia ma ye bema wa support. Okay. Mustafa ya da say.
Yes, that.
Mustafa reiterates what Mr. Yeboah says. Mustafa says that for some of them, it is from cradle to grave. They were born into the party, they will die in the party. He says he supports the NPP. That's all for our discussion. Let's get into Happy Hour. Opportunity to wish your loved one a happy birthday on Happy Hour. Any shout outs you want to send to them, just send it to us on Happy Hour and we'll do that for you. Send us an email, send us a DM via our socials at ABC News GH _ Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok. Just send us a DM and let's wish that special person a happy birthday for you. Additionally, you can call us on 0539161609. We'll receive your birthday wishes and wish them a happy birthday for you. We have a happy birthday coming from in-house. We want to say a happy birthday to Enoch from all of us at ABC News GH and Brand Phoenix. Happy birthday to an incredible colleague. Your dedication, hard work and positive spirit makes a world of difference every day. Wishing you a year filled with success, laughter and well-deserved relaxation. Thank you for always giving your best. You truly inspire those around you. Enjoy your special day. So from all of us here at ABC News GH and Brand Phoenix, we say a happy birthday to our friend and our colleague Enoch. And that's all for Happy Hour today. And on that note, we end ABC in the morning today, this fine Wednesday morning. We continue to tell you to keep your head up high and continue to hope that the future will be better than your past. Don't give up, okay? Continue to hope. We are rooting for you and we know that you will succeed. We'll come your way same time tomorrow with ABC in the morning. Before then, keep enjoying all of the programs we have for you on ABC News GH. Our YouTube channel is ABC News GH and our socials at ABC News _ For all of the news you need, visit our website.